Live from Elmo's house, we are presenting to you another educated discussion. I'm Elmo.
And I'm Felipe.
And we are going to present to you the first in our many-part series, the Survival Guide.
Oh, snap.
Now, what are we attempting to survive, Felipe?
You're surviving not having next gen.
No Xbox Series X.
No PS5.
No Switch Pro. Or whatever that's supposed to
No
be.
one's got that,
No.
but yes.
Despite my attempts to get a PlayStation 5, I have successfully failed each and every time. Even while at work as a teacher, I've told students hey, they said it's going to go live at 10 a.m. You tell me as soon as it hits 9:59, I'm going to get on the bestbuy.com or whatever. And this kid, he hooked me up
He's on it?
with an alarm in my middle of my lesson and no success.
Dang. Yeah, that story is replicated a lot. Well, not the teacher thing, but just a lot of people failing to get a next gen console.
It sucks.
It does.
But thankfully, even though 2020 was without a doubt an awful year.
Yeah. We still found some ways to keep ourselves entertained.
To survive.
To survive. Man, that should be a series.
Series X. Anyway. We would like to present to our educated patrons
Okay.
the ways in which they can survive if they do not have a PlayStation 5. And it even works because it's not like there's a ton to play on those systems anyway.
Yeah.
And it does have a lot of backwards compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
So we could give them some information on, hey, this is what you not what you should do, but here's some great options.
Yeah, some great ideas. And, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we decided we are going to officially give out our Edie Awards at the very end.
Okay.
The Game of the Year, the Educated Discussion Game of the Year.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
I know.
We have a trophy for that?
The Edies.
The Edie's.
The Edies. You'll make something on Photoshop. All right. Just put the Game Awards logo, but put ED on it, really ugly.
Spray painted on and dripping
that's
down.
even better.
All right.
I'll find a font for you.
Okay,
I got one
thanks.
in mind.
All right.
So before we do give out our Edies, we should make it clear that we're going to cover our top 3 games.
Yeah.
And your 3 is going to probably be different than mine.
Yep.
And obviously, at the end of this, we'll come to the conclusion that yours was great, but mine is the official, on the Wikipedia page for ED Game of the Year, eventually in 8 years. It's going to say mine, because that will have stood the test of time.
I highly doubt that's what's going to happen. But
Pretty
we
sure.
will
I'm
cross
pretty
that bridge as we get to it.
Now,
When I kick you off the bridge.
What we also want to discuss is what we played this year and what helped us survive that, 2 months we haven't had next gen. But what could help you survive as you
struggle still to get this next gen console.
Or maybe you played Demon Souls already. You played Watch Dogs Legion and you're like, what am I going to do now? Well, here's something you probably missed that we interacted with in the year of 2020.
Okay.
So I do know that you have a very odd list of games that you played this year.
Yeah.
They do focus mostly on PlayStation 4. And
that is correct, yeah.
My expertise will be more of the multi-platform or just the outside of that PlayStation ecosystem. Even though I played a ton of PlayStation as well.
Right.
I do have a higher trophy level than you.
That's debatable.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's not debatable. It's not by much. It's by 4 or 5 or something. I don't know what that even means.
I'm going to fix that. I'll fix that.
Okay, you're going to play some Bulletstorm?
You did give me that Bulletstorm from years and years ago.
I'm sure Duke Nukem's got easy trophies.
Oh my god, no it doesn't. I looked it up back in the day.
So, when we're not watching Mulan, when we're not talking about Hispanics in, media, which you can listen to on the Educated Discussion YouTube page.
Right.
You could be the 20th view.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or the 1,045 or 45th PlayStation.
It's 1,100
pitch.
something now.
Okay. Man, you would think there would be more of a connection there, but I guess not.
They just want that. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's referencing the PlayStation All Stars.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which that series will continue as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we want to help you survive these tumultuous times. 2021 does not seem to be going exceptionally well either.
Yeah.
And here's what you could use to distract yourself while you still remain informed and educated. We're going to keep you educated on what you can do.
Okay.
Something that I think I spent some good amount of time with that I think you, the viewer / listener, could get into. And I know you and I think we talked about this very briefly, for too long.
Okay.
I recommend the Yakuza series.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember we went off on I forget what podcast that was, but there has never been a better time to get into that series.
I have heard a lot more people recommend that last year specifically. I guess because the new one was coming
Yakuza
out too,
0
but a lot of people were playing older ones too, and they're just. I hear more and more praise as the year continued last year about that series specifically.
I watched a playthrough of Yakuza 0 and then played Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2.
Okay.
And those games, first of all, best, this is an odd compliment, best skin textures in any video game.
Okay.
Man, you will see these guys' acne. You will see everything on these guys and what their skin has to tell you.
Is that the best though? What their skin has to tell you.
But sometimes I look at these guys, I'm like, dang, this looks really good. And then you see the women are oddly modeled. Maybe they just are wearing makeup or something. But some of these dudes, every pore. I've never seen so many pores on a video game character.
Okay.
So at least with visual fidelity, it's there. It's not that next gen experience visually, but hey, they don't got ray tracing, but they got that skin.
Skin tracing.
But also, as I've been playing, I've sent you a few snaps, and they have been enjoyable. I would assume.
Yeah.
With the staff,
they
up the butt.
made me smile. Yeah, the staff up the butt. Have fun putting that picture in there.
And then the guy drools as you stank it in there, and that's the wrong verb.
Stank it in there. Yeah, well, there's some stanking at the end of that.
There's one video that I saved. I didn't put I gotta show you it. I saved it so I could send it to you later.
Okay.
There's one boss fight where I was like, this is ridiculous. But that game is so wonderful in its
ridiculous.
It's definitely ridiculous. Okay. But if you want a game where just you want to go on a ride and you want a story to just take you places while still somewhat grounded in reality, this is a fabulous series. And I've only seen 0 and played 1 and 2, but I've heard where other pieces go. And as a English major, I'm a big fan of, and it's sometimes to my detriment. My wife is really good at predicting what's going to happen in a show, but I'm so just open to so many ideas. And it leads to me getting disappointed a lot when I'm thinking all these creative ideas that where a writer could go, and then it doesn't go in a direction I thought it could have. And that's setting myself up sometimes. But Yakuza is a series that I don't know where it's going to go. And it sort of entertains my idea of this could go anywhere. Okay. There's constant twists and turns, and they're almost always enjoyable. Oh. The series only gets questionable, I think, in aspects that I think transfer weirdly from Japan to America. Okay. And I will say there is no dub. It's all subtitles. And I'm trying to pick up Japanese, I guess, while I play it. I know that Nani means what, but that's that's from everything else. But Daga, I know what Daga means now. That's cool. That's the only other word I can remember. But it or saying yes is doesn't sound like it flows, but I guess in Japan it does.
Yeah, it makes sense there.
But that's just a series. I think if you need to kill some time, there's Yakuza 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I don't know if you've heard much about. That new one that came out, it was an RPG. Yeah, people are seemingly loving that.
Yeah, they do.
So if you need a series to get into, I recommend knock it down to easy and go on a ride.
Knock it down to easy. Okay. Yeah.
Because honestly, the combat, I get tired of it sometimes.
Okay. Now, the games that you're talking about specifically that you played this year, was that a 2020 release?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Was I believe 2019.
Okay.
But right now, like on the PlayStation Store, you could get like each for like $10 or so.
Okay.
And if you have Game Pass, they have 1 and 2, and I think 3, 4, and 5 are showing up later this month.
Yeah, makes sense because that the new one is, as of right now, an exclusive to the Series X.
There's never been a better time to get into the
Xbox.
series.
Okay.
Could there be a better time later? Probably. But I'm excited to continue my journey with Kiryu.
Okay.
In Yakuza 3, a PlayStation 3 remaster. But is there something that you have jumped into this year that could help others survive?
Yeah, one of the games that I played was actually just a game that I somehow missed a few years back on the PS4. And this was Resident Evil 7. I played that for the first time in 2020. And man, I am upset that I did not give it the chance when it first came out. That game was fantastic. I couldn't believe that they made a first-person Resident Evil work as good as they did, and
they did.
Honestly, I think this is my preferred way to play this franchise now. Now, I also did play Resident Evil 2. However, and it was great, but man, RE7, man, they struck that horror vibe that I love so much, and they did it so well. And was just new to me. So I know that's the 7th one in the franchise. Not all of them are going to be the same. You can't easily access all of them. Well, I guess you can. They got like the remasters, right? Like the PS1 ones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the whatever they're called. But I don't know. Resident Evil 7, I had a blast playing.
I feel like you're doing a disservice to Resident Evil 2 here, man. Like,
Resident Evil 2, that didn't come out last year, right?
No, it did not. It did not. Neither did 7.
No, I know. I was just trying, because I was thinking, I'm like, I could have sworn I played Resident Evil 2 in 2020, but I guess it was at the end of 2019, and then that's what made me want to jump into 7.
I did play Resident Evil 2 this year. I beat it the 2 times with the 2 characters, and I watched my brother-in-law beat it 2 times with the 2 characters, and I watched an online play from Giant Bomb. So I've seen that game's credits 6 times. I can't say that about Resident Evil 7. Loved 7.
Okay.
And I have the DLC, and I remember saying, "Yo, I'm gonna bring my PS5 over, and on your cool setup, I wanna watch you play that DLC. I think that'd be a good time."
Yeah, I remember this.
Maybe that'll go on the channel. I don't know, but I have all that DLC. And I would
Resident Evil 2 was great. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just talking about what I actually played. Yeah. But it was just so different to me because I played the original. Some of the original Resident Evils, and they were all great. And honestly, 2 is the best one out of the ones I played of that style. The third person over the shoulder. But then this first person one came out, which I did not think I was going to like, which is the reason why I didn't play it to begin with, and it just hit all the right notes. I don't know, just the atmosphere that they created, the story, focusing in on just like kind of one area. And obviously it expanded later on in the game, but I don't know. It was just really cool. I loved it.
Do you want to try my VR?
Hell no.
I did it I did the intro, and I had to make sure my wife was in the room.
Maybe in the later part of the games, but man, that beginning thing with the house and then just this random lady just coming out around the corner, just yelling at you like, oh god.
The part where you're being chased by the guy and he's got his axe.
Oh,
I got up. I passed him. I was like, that's my point where I'm gonna play to with VR.
Okay,
and I did it, and I was like, I'm good. Never need to do that again. It was great. I screamed at points. Like,
I definitely want to try it one day, but I would not be able to play the whole game that way.
I got that, and I do want you to go through that DLC. I want to watch you play that DLC.
All right, I did beat some of the DLC.
You'll get me trophies, I guess, but. And then so your level, I guess, won't go.
No, we're playing at my house. So I can get these trophies.
So anyway, I own it. We should do that, and I recommend, as a person who also beat RE7, that's a great way to survive by constantly dying in that game.
I didn't die that much.
There was one part I remember. It really got me.
Yeah, the little alien thing.
It was one boss. It was one boss.
Oh.
That it just took me a little too long to figure out.
Okay.
But still, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. So, any more to add on the RE there?
No, just great. I would recommend it. If you guys somehow didn't give it a chance because of the same reason or just are really interested in the franchise, I would give that one a shot because it's fantastic.
Okay. Ready for me to go?
Go.
I have a low cost survival tactic you could use.
Okay.
Genshin Impact.
Oh, snap. So low cost. It's free?
It is free
to
play, and it is so enjoyable that, as I told you before we started recording, I was teaching a lesson, and there's this girl just playing it on her phone in class. She's just playing Genshin Impact, like jumping around trying to fight something, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, and I mentioned like, "Why are you playing Genshin Impact?" And she looked at me weird, and then I started mentioning specific characters, and she just was bewildered that I knew anything about this. And I definitely can't blame her for playing it. It is very much in the style of Breath of the Wild. I don't think you ended up playing Breath of the Wild much, if at all.
Yeah.
But
mostly PS4 here.
It is it borrows a lot of the style of Breath of the Wild, but it is not similar gameplay wise. There are some systems that you could see were clearly inspired by Breath of the Wild, but that's what I heard. But Genshin Impact is far more focused on the combat and the switching of characters.
Would you say the combat is better in Genshin Impact than it is in Breath of the Wild?
I'm not a fan of breakable weapons.
Who has that?
In Zelda.
Oh, Breath of the Wild. Gotcha.
And you just have
Link.
I
hate that.
Yeah, and you just have Link. But in Genshin Impact, you have multiple characters. And you can swap between them, like, not mid-combo, but like a half second after you're done with a combo.
Yeah.
You can swap, but you can also, like, combine elements with those characters. And each character focuses on a different element. So it's like, oh, you got your electric guy, and he's fighting, and when he stuns a guy, you can then switch to your fire guy, and then it'll overload him. And there's a lot of just cool combo setups you can do. Okay. So while it's not as intuitive, probably puzzle-wise, and probably in overall creativity,
it's a much bigger budget game that the Breath of the Wild.
Now
I think you can forgive it for some of its shortcomings.
The performance it's stuttering, man. Like, because I think you have to be connected online, and it's sometimes it chugs a little bit, but it still looks gorgeous. And the only negative impact on this, I guess, is those characters. You get enough to like fill your party, but if you want more characters, they got that system where you throw a few dollars in, and you can roll and possibly get more characters. And apparently, I don't know if they've fixed it since then, and I could be wrong on this specific number, but to get like a 5-star character, it's like a 0.4% chance. I ended up getting one of them though. Like one of those 5 stars.
Oh yeah.
So it's doable.
Okay.
But that's they give you enough currency that you can definitely get some rolls without paying.
That's what I hear. I heard that a lot of people were concerned that they had that. What would they call
a gacha system?
Yeah, the gacha system. The roll the dice. Whatever. I heard a lot of people were concerned about that, but I heard that people got their fill of the game without spending a penny.
I spent no money, and occasionally do jump back in. And other games took my attention, but if you're someone who's trying to survive on a budget,
oh yeah,
Genshin Impact, while I'm not going to say it respects your lack of funds or lack of desire to spend funds, but it gives you more than enough that you don't have to actually spend any money. It's at least fair in that aspect. Now, if you want your cool anime ladies and your waifus, you're probably gonna need to spend money. But if you're okay with just getting an occasional few and learning to play with what you have,
I mean, you can't expect too much for free.
Mm-hmm. But I would say I don't know if it's a great value is the right term, but there are very few free to play games that I think are as going to fill that need that Nintendo clearly isn't filling with Breath of the Wild 2 yet.
Yeah, definitely a good little appetizer.
Mm-hmm. And if you like it, great. And if you didn't like it, well, it didn't cost any money. Mm-hmm. So what do you got?
Well, speaking of being friendly to the budget, right? One of the decent deals in gaming right now is the fact that if you have the PlayStation Plus, which is their online service, you do get a couple of free games a month. Every month. So that's potentially, depending on how many games release a month, let's say on average 3. Well, honestly, I only use about 2 of them. So whatever. You get about 24 games a year that I'm interested in. Usually the third one is like something with Vita or something that I don't...
a system you've not played this year.
In a while. I have it. I just haven't played it in a bit.
I beat a Vita game this year.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Not you. Mr. Sony over here.
Mr. PlayStation 4. Get that right. At one point this in 2020, BioShock Remastered came out.
Oh yeah, I forgot you kind of knew that.
Yeah, and I've actually been itching to play those games because a friend of mine is actually a big fan of that series, and I remember he was like, when that remastered came out, like physically to purchase, like he was all about it and like was interested in getting the collector's edition that had like the Big Daddy statue and everything, and I was kind of like getting the itch to play it again, but I didn't have the money to buy that game because I already played them and everything. But then they came free to Plus. So to me, with the exception of the $60 I pay a year, it didn't cost me anything extra. It was just an extra bonus that month. And boy, did I have a great time. I went back and I beat the original BioShock. And I finally got to fully beat BioShock 2 because when that game first came out, I was gameflying it. And I didn't get a chance to... I ran through it rather quickly and didn't really get a chance to explore it. And this time I did. And it was not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. Did you play the Minerva's Den DLC?
I actually did, yes. Because with the remastered, it did include it. So I went back and played that. It was good.
Okay.
It was actually very different than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I thought it was something to do with like a garden. I don't know. I don't know what I thought it was.
Den is in the word garden.
I guess so. That's where I made that tie. But yeah, no, it was very different, but it was very good.
Okay.
So I was happy I got a chance to experience them. I did not get a chance to play Infinite because I just wasn't motivated to play that one because that one I played, obviously more recently on the PS3, but I didn't enjoy that one as much as the original BioShock. I guess just the setting.
There's definitely a different mood.
Yeah, it was also a different gameplay style. It was a lot more action and combat, whereas these ones had a little bit more exploration in it and more RPG stuff that I think.
I was a little younger and more, maybe not naive, but more like, I guess, desensitized to horror when I first played BioShock. But there are parts of BioShock that I remember vividly that really like spooked me.
Oh yeah.
And not so, it is
a horror game.
There was one jump scare that I'm like really annoyed about in a good way, but I'm like, this stupid game.
You still remember it?
Yeah. I won't spoil it if anyone hasn't played it. I'll tell you off the air. But there was, I know there's like a boss you fight or something, and it deals with like a medical kind of aspect, and just the way they
fairly early on,
the way they like frame it and the lighting and everything, and he's just talking to you for a bit. Yeah. I remember, and I don't know how much it holds up. I remember being like, I'm loving this. Like that, I am
McDonald's.
Really, I am in this world, and I am really just intrigued.
I mean, that's what they do best, to set up that world and that universe, and you feel like you're a part of it, and you're walking through it, and you're seeing, obviously how it is now compared to, and you're just kind of imagining how it used to be, just based on all these tape recordings. Like, you hear the vibe that place had. Obviously now it's more, I guess you could equate it to post-apocalyptic. It's destroyed and fallen apart, but it's still kind of neat to go through. You can just visualize how everything used to be versus how it is now. And how it is now is scary. So definitely something to waste time with. Not waste time, but use your time and pass the time in 2020 as people need it. Mm-hmm. So if you have PlayStation Plus or I mean, of course, we'll be remiss if we didn't say the Game Pass. If you have Game Pass on the Xbox, I mean, you got just a ridiculous amount of options there as well. So definitely invest in one of those two, depending on which console that you have, because you at least
PC.
have.
They got Game Pass.
You don't need to get PC, guys. I'll just tell you right now. Go ahead, whatever you want, whatever you want. Your place of play, just definitely having some kind of subscription helps also.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm really Japanese heavy here.
Oh,
and I guess I'm gonna go back into that realm. I didn't realize I was so Japanese heavy.
Yakuza 4.
I've been playing another series. I'm only in the second one. There's a series called The Legend of Heroes, and there's a PSP game, and there's other like some of the the first few games. Like I believe even one or two of them aren't even available in North America. Like you gotta import it or do like something weird with like installing some
Sounds
sort of
familiar.
language packs. But they sort of did a soft not reboot, but like a restart of the series. That because there's one called like Trails in the Sky, and I played the first one on my PSP, but just it didn't grab me because like my PSP, the analog stick is broken or whatever. So I tried to skip it, and I jumped right into The Legend of Heroes Cold Steel. And this is, I would argue, one of the most ambitious narrative RPGs of all time. So currently, The Legend of Heroes Cold Steel is a series that continues on from the previous Legend of Heroes games that go back from PSP days.
Okay.
And they're up to their fourth one now. And apparently Cold Steel is a great place to jump in. So I jumped in there, and it is a wonderful RPG that I'm very much looking forward to continuing. So if you need something to kill some time and survive with, The Legend of Heroes Cold Steel is a great place to jump in to a series that is full of a ton of lore. Like, this is a game that, like, at every point in the story, like, and it's like ridiculous, it's nonsense, but every point in the story, all the NPCs all over like the world map, they all have something different to say after every single plot point. Now, I am not gonna go and see every one of those and read them because it's a lot of like just.
But it's there if you want it.
Yeah, and so world building, they do an impeccable job. And there's so many like characters being named. Like I'm playing 2 right now, and I have like a party of like 10 plus people. And I know when you get to Cold Steel 3, that like roster only grows, and like all those characters like from the first one are gonna still be in play in 4. So there's just very few, I think, RPGs that like go that long and have that like consistent narrative. Like with Final Fantasy 7 or 10 or anything, every number resets. So, and like imagine like a Mass Effect that went even past 3. There is,
and what number is this one technically?
I think this is like the 4th.
Oh, okay.
In
That's
the
not too
series,
bad.
but they like did a cold reset, for lack of a better phrase.
Gotcha.
So, it's a game that also like, I'm not gonna say it respects your time. With like sometimes I'm like, this scene is a little silly.
RPGs aren't normally known for respecting your time.
There's a great, you click R2, I think it is, and there's a times by 3 speed.
Just integrated into the game?
Yeah, you just click that, you'll run faster. Cutscenes go by a little bit faster.
That's cool.
The battles go by faster.
That's how a lot of people replay the older RPGs on old systems if they have like the right mods or not mods, emulators that have that feature. That's cool that they have it on a newer game.
And I'm pretty sure these are like Vita games that got ported to the PS4 that I'm playing.
Okay,
but
still,
you know what? I think it does. Like if you want your time respected, that option is there, and I use it all the time. Sometimes I turn it off, and I'm like, why is he so slow? Like, but I'm so used to like the 3 times speed.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that continues in 3 and 4. I'm gonna assume it does, but if you want like. You want to just live in a world, this is a great place to start, and you'll get plenty of content. Each game's like 50 plus hours with the 3 times speed that I was doing, and the storyline's pretty interesting from a political perspective, because they really try to go into like the politics, and then by the end of one, some nonsense happens that completely changes like the kind of themes that you run into in the second one. So I'm just very like in sort of like in that Yakuza way, like I don't exactly know where everything's gonna go, and they kind of break their own rules in the fiction eventually, and go in like and I mean that more in like I didn't expect the end of one and how they would go about it, and I'm trying to be vague here.
There's a lot of stuff that you can't expect, but was it still good?
Yeah,
okay,
I would say it's good. There are points where I'm like, all right, it's clearly a guy and there's like 8 girls and they all like him, and it's got like it plays with the tropes.
What a tough life
I know.
Lives.
Ugh. But you can see like the series growing, and the voice acting is already better in 2. So if you want to see like something beautiful grow, this is the flower of the survival guide. Like, I don't know what to call it, but I recommend the Legend of Heroes Cold Steel. There, and even you can play them portably on I think 1 and 2 on the Vita, and I think 3 is on the Switch, and 4 is gonna be. So you still have a portable option if you want to go into a heavy RPG.
Cool, plenty of options.
What you got?
Okay, so for my next pick, being the Sony pony that I am, I love the first party games that PlayStation offers. That's the reason I have that console as my primary console of choice. There is one, however, that I just didn't get a chance to play when it came out, I believe in 2019, and that game is Days Gone.
Was that this year for you?
It was this year for me.
God.
I got to it late. I want to say I tried to buy it over Black Friday of 2019, but by the time I remembered to go get it, because I was working during Black Friday, it were already gone. My store already sold them all. So I was like, dang it. Luckily, my friend let me borrow it. Let me tell you, that game is not perfect. It's
ride me like you ride your hog.
That's
I just know that kind of scene.
It wasn't as bad when you actually have the context.
Right.
It was actually a little bit more endearing that moment.
Speaking of endearing, that I'm endearing.
Okay.
There are several points where I almost bought that game for you for like a gift
for
an occasion. So you would have gotten it eventually.
Okay, I appreciate that. Luckily, I didn't have to spend any money on it, and my friend let me borrow it. It is a good time waster. It's not. There's a lot of stuff that it just doesn't do optimally. However, it's still good enough, which I think is
the Sony the Sony catchphrase. Good enough.
No, not too often. It usually is the best. That's the Sony catchphrase. However, this game, there's just something about it that although there's stuff that it doesn't do the best, it just still keeps you grabbed and you keep going and you still want to keep playing. Like, I was sending you voice clips because to me, like, the acting of the main guy, he's fine, but he can be a little all over the place during just...
I remember you showed me something.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, the lines that they recorded, like, there was one time where he's listening to
like the radio?
He's listening to, like, a broadcast of somebody, and, it's not someone that he likes. And it's just, like, a peaceful day. Like, he's on his motorcycle and he's driving through, and he's like, oh yeah, well, I can't believe you did this. And he starts screaming, like, and I'm like, dude, like, calm down. He can't hear you. He's not really there. Like, he's not gonna. I don't know. Anyways, so what I'm saying is, when it comes to the Sony first party games, most of the time the acting is like it's top notch. The cutscenes are perfect. The graphics are perfect. There's a certain control scheme that's like incredible, right? And for the most part, there's nothing really that I would say shines in this game to that extent. Like, the gunplay is fine. It's fun, but it's not as, maybe not gunplay, but like traversal. It's not as smooth as Last of Us Part 2. Like when we in the spoiler cast, I talked about how smooth everything feels with Ellie just moving around and like her angles that she can like move, dive, all that stuff. I mean, they have some of that in this game, but it's just not as good. The story isn't as good as something like The Last of Us or even like Ghost of Tsushima. But it's still entertaining. There's still like they go for the zombie trope. They don't call them zombies in the game. They call them freakers. They're zombies. They're zombies. Just like how in Last of Us, they're clickers.
These are freaks.
They're zombies.
Certified freak. 7 days.
7 days a week. However, it's just good. I looked at how long it took me to beat the game, and I forgot the actual... Oh, okay, yeah. I started in April, kept playing in May, and I beat it in June. That's a long game. Obviously, I didn't beeline it. Like, I was attempting the platinum, but then I realized, yeah, it's a lot of work. But I would like to... I did have fun, like, messing with the hordes and trying to find out the best way to beat them and everything. Like, I was having a good time playing the game, even though stuff wasn't perfect. There was a lot of weird glitches. There was one point where I got to a certain area of the map where everything, the game is actually pretty decent looking. It's not like Last of Us 2 quality, like, when it comes to graphics, but it's pretty nice still. And then I reached a part of the world where half of it was that quality, what I would say is PS4 4K quality. The other part, straight up PS1. Polygons galore.
Final Fantasy 7 door?
No, not that bad. But it was close. It made me think of the door. I'll say that. However, yeah, it's like all the textures went away, and that was it. And not only did that happen once in that area, I reloaded the game, and it happened again. And so just weird stuff like that. Sometimes I would fall through the world. Sometimes my motorcycle would get stuck in a weird area and I just couldn't do it. So I'd have to like reload or do something. And then, enemies suddenly spawning randomly in front of me or behind me or something. So it was strange. But regardless, even after all that, I think this game is a good use of your time. If you like shooting, if you like just the simpleness of what a zombie game would entail. Easy to follow story. Some likable characters. Some kind of sweet moments. And it's an open world game. And with open world games, there's just a lot to do and a lot to explore. So I think Days Gone, although not a perfect 10 out of 10, a solid game and a solid use of your time that you can sink a lot of hours into, as I did.
I remember the debut of that game's like at an E3, I believe. I was not impressed. And then the game came out, and I feel like the reception was mixed.
Yeah, I would say it was
more
mixed
positive, like more just uninspired.
Yeah, it was more like this game's fine. It just wasn't what I wanted, or it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, or something like that. That was the usual consensus.
But there were some people who, and maybe it's some Last of Us trolls or something, but they will defend this game to the death. Like this is the epitome of art, and I'm not trying to say that like obnoxiously, but like
I've yet to hear someone say that, but there is some diehards for the game. I think it
is just anti Last of Us people, but.
There's in reference comparing it.
I think that's what some of it is, but it's definitely like there are people that definitely will swear by it, and what you've said, I can see. Hey, if you're unlike me, I've got more games than time, but if you're more of I've got more time than games, maybe Days Gone is a good survival. A game to add to your library. Yep. It's not expensive.
No, not anymore.
And
you usually get it for around $20.
I'm sure you could kill some time on there.
Kill some zombies.
Yeah.
Freakers.
I don't know how I feel about name.
I don't like the name.
What Walking Dead sort of started. I don't know if it started it, but I often think like, would we do that? Like we'd come up with nicknames. In real life,
I would give them at least overall, they're still zombies. I would give nicknames to the certain types.
Like no zombies.
Zombies. Just maybe a certain type. I don't know.
Call them corals.
Coral. What you got?
I'm going to do a 2-for-1 here because they do not need to be talked about much. I'm going to talk about Fortnite first. I was so like, I do not care about Fortnite kind of person.
I was that way too.
Yeah.
Still am.
But then they added the Marvel characters, and I was annoyed. I'm like, I'm gonna check this out.
Why are they speaking to me right now?
Why are they playing Marvel people? And I got into it, and I'll be honest, the dances I think did a lot to push me.
That's the only thing you sent me
for some reason. And I think my daughter, like, watching the dances and, like, enjoying them.
Copying them?
Yeah. Because she can't, I can't even pull off some of those
the videos
dances.
at me, she was trying.
But I have come to really respect that game. And I played it a lot this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good. But I think there's no other game that is as stressful in a good way. Like the adrenaline I feel like when I'm in like a top 3 situation, I get that nowhere else. And I'm not gonna say like I'm some adrenaline junkie, but like if I want a reliable like heart thumping moment, like I want to just get into a game and feel like the heat of a moment. That's the game I think. I think you and I would very much enjoy a Fortnite day with you. Or Fortnite night.
I've been waiting for this call. I've yet to receive it.
You gotta download it. It's a few
I
gigs.
have it.
Okay. There's no more Marvel characters. And with the loss of Marvel characters, it definitely lessened
Whoa, hold on. You can't use any more characters?
You can use them, but there's no more new ones. Right now, it's all like there's a new battle pass.
Oh, okay. So they don't take them away.
No, I still can use Wolverine, and
gotcha.
I was freaking She-Hulk shooting at
Kratos
recently.
Let's say I jump in. Can I use Wolverine?
No, you missed him, and he was a pain in the butt to unlock for me.
What the hell?
And then my brother-in-law played, and he like did the equivalent of what you need to get Wolverine like 3 times, and it was very frustrating because you have to like run into him, and like it's like he spawns randomly, and he's hard to kill. And my brother-in-law did it like so easily, so that was annoying. But that's a game that even my wife is like, "Listen, I know you're playing Fortnite. Go finish. If you're in the like, there's no other game where she'd be like." Listen, if you're in the top 5, you don't pause it for me.
Okay.
So it's just cool. And one hurdle that made me, I said I'd go quick. So let me remember.
Right.
There's one hurdle that made me be like, man, this is stupid. It was the building. And even now, like when people building towers, I'm just like, yep, you doing that. I'm just going to kind of stand here. But my brother-in-law did show me there's like a way to quick build.
Yeah.
And that's fabulous. Like I didn't.
Did you use it?
Yeah, I would have never known that was an option, and I use it, and it's made me a better player, and it took away a lot of the intimidation I had at learning the systems. There's a quick build, so if you are intimidated by the building, you don't really need it, but there's a way to. And I'm not building towers; I'm like just building walls to protect me, and it's really it's an intuitive system. It's very user friendly, so don't get intimidated by it. And what else I was going to recommend, and I don't need to talk about it much, Animal Crossing.
What game's that?
It's when you turn over a new leaf. Wait, that's the name of the new one. That was the 3DS one.
When you jump over that new horizon.
New horizons. I think I discussed it in a previous podcast. I didn't like what they did to the villagers in that they don't seem to have as much to say. But I still killed a good 30
Well,
hours.
you can buy more villagers now.
With the amiibo cards or something? Yeah. I did buy one.
But I heard they still don't have much to say.
No.
Even after you, yeah.
No. But I needed my puck. I needed my penguin with like a hockey jersey on. But...
So you're saying that Animal Crossing is a good time sink.
Yeah.
Make good use of your time.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it. Not my type of game. However, my wife was thoroughly entertained, and with the seasons changing and new content rolling out consistently throughout the year, definitely something new that will be different.
On the 3DS, I think my play time was like 80 hours.
All right.
By the time on the 3DS, this one not even half of that.
Oh,
but still, I mean, that's a lot of hours.
Still 40 hours.
Great time sink if you're someone who hasn't given it a chance. It's a nice. It's the opposite of Fortnite.
Not stress inducing.
Yeah,
just a gentle relaxation.
Yeah. It does become like if you let it can become like a chore. As in, you have to. This is just part of your routine. Yeah. So if you're someone who has like chore is the wrong word, but if you have a routine that you stick to, or you want a routine in these quarantine times, like you used to maybe not, like you used to go on the bus or something every morning, and you don't have that anymore. This is a great game to establish some normalcy in your life.
Gotta pick them weeds.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you got?
One game that I don't have too much to say on it because I unfortunately didn't play it as much. But however, it is a relatively low cost of entry. And you can definitely have some new experiences daily on it. And that game is Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
That came out this year.
That was going to be in your top 5 by default. Before we decided top 3.
Yeah, I didn't. This year I did not play too many 2020 releases, but that is one of them I played. I saw some neat stuff on that. I didn't play it as much because I had a lot of other stuff to play that took up a little bit more of my very limited time. However, there was some cool stuff. Again, not much to really say, but sometimes I'm playing a level that I find online or whatever that's recommended to me. And I'm just like, man, how do they make this? Like, this is good even for a mobile game.
I see some of the videos. I'm like, well, how does one even get to this point?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it gives me an itch that I just know I can't scratch. Like, it makes me want to create, but like I jumped into the creation stuff and I was watching all the tutorials, and I honestly didn't even finish all the tutorials because I was like, this is kind of genius the way they're making it work. I do not have the time for this. Which is one of the main reasons I stopped, I'm still happy that I got it. Like, I waited for a sale, and at the time, I think it came out, it was originally $40, and I waited till it was like $30, and that's exactly what I got for my birthday. And I just waited until it went on sale, so I had this $30 for PSN, just waiting, and then I finally got it, and I'm happy I bought it. Again, I didn't play too much of it. If I had to put an hour count, I'm probably like at around 8 or 9. Like, that's not much, but if you don't have much other stuff to play, you can get a new experience in that game on a daily basis. Not every experience will be fantastic, but even on broken levels, or like not broken levels, because there has to be a way to finish it for it to be published. But even on levels that aren't amazing, there's usually 1 or 2 things about it that kind of go like, huh, this is kind of neat. How did they do this? Just something to think about. There was one level, for example, I played. I was Mr. Donald J. Trump, and I was shooting aliens. Don't like the guy, but I was curious to see what they did, because I read the description. I forgot what they said. Something about it enticed me. I'm like, let me see what this is about. And I click it, and it wasn't very good. But they had sound bites of him talking, and to me, he's a very funny guy to listen to, because I don't need to get him talking.
He says a lot.
He says a lot. He's got a big mouth. And they perfectly captured his big mouth on this on this little stupid UFO shooter. And every now and then, it'd be like, fantastic, terrific, or whatever he says. It was just funny to me. So just like, again, a little glimmers of genius every now and then in certain games. And then certain stuff is just incredible. I mean, I played like a whole horror game around Halloween time because I was like kind of in the mood, and I was like, let me see what Dreams has got. And I went in and I played a whole Chernobyl area, and it was really well done for what it was.
It scary?
It got me once.
Okay. And so it was more of a, not so much a dream, but a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, yes. So definitely something to consider. It's nice to have it there, especially if you download it digitally. You can just have it on your dash, and every now and then just check up on it. And you might be surprised at what you find.
Okay. I got one more.
Okay. This
one is very near and dear to my heart. So let me just first build it up to you a little bit. This is definitely it's sort of in the Days Gone genre of this is a game you have to buy it, but you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck. I am a big fan of Harry Potter.
All right.
I love medieval nonsense. I used to say Game of Thrones, but it that doesn't have the same.
Let's not talk about this. That Game of Thrones was fantastic. Don't let that last season ruin it.
It's hard to go back to.
Just don't watch the last season.
But a beautiful combination of those two is in a group of 3.
Oh, and I know what you're saying.
Fire Emblem 3
Devil
houses.
May
No.
Oh, okay.
Fire Emblem 3 houses. I think I cheat a little bit in terms of loving it because I'm a teacher. But you are
a teacher's cheating?
You're a professor at the Game of Thrones magic school. And I freaking love that game. And it's what's almost annoying, though it's great, is there are like, you have to pick your house, so to say, and each house has a different storyline.
Also like Game of Thrones. House Targaryen.
Yeah. I started with Black Eagles, and
that's pretty close to a Raven.
I remember playing that over the summer last year, like of 2019. So more than last year. And like I grew to like enjoy those freaking students as much as my real ones. And it like actually gave me like sort of ideas as to what to do at work to like build a little bit of a better bond. It's not 1-to-1. It's way easier to make them kids like you in that game than in real life. But it did make me like, it made me want to go to work a little bit too. Like I was like, man, I can't wait to work with, like, it gave me ideas. And no other game I think has made me like inspired to like, or passionate enough to be like, I want to go to work. Like I'm excited for summer to end. And dealing with my, with my little kiddos and training them for war.
As you do in real life?
And like you can assign them goals and you instruct them and you bond with them and you make them kill people.
Sure.
And I looked at my play count recently and I only have done 2 runs. I'm still in the middle of my second playthrough, but it is my second most played Switch game and my second most played game of the last year for sure. And I've got over 130 hours in there. It's a lot of hours.
A lot of hours.
And I'm not even done with my second playthrough. I just love like setting up my students. So if you want like a commitment that you don't have to go that in depth with the teaching and everything. And once I'm done with it a second time, I'm going to eventually play it a third time for that third storyline.
So Fire Emblem, this is a teaching simulator.
There are points where you are simulating the act of teaching, yes.
Okay.
And sending your units out into battle.
All right.
Love it.
I mean, if you were sinking in 130 hours.
That's a great sound that the couch made.
Yeah, it was the couch.
I'll edit it out.
No, leave it in. Maybe not. If you sunk in 130 hours, it sounds like it's a good use of your time.
It's a great way to survive.
Yes.
Yours?
My last one?
Mm-hmm.
A game I really enjoyed this year that I can put in all the time I want, or just a little bit every now and then. Tony Hawk's.
I'm glad you're bringing this one up.
Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Glad you brought it up.
Man, what a good game that was. And that's what it needed to be. Unfortunately, so it had a big hill to climb because they tried doing this before. They've done these remasters before with Tony Hawk. They even tried releasing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5
on my Xbox 360.
Oh, you did?
The redo they originally tried.
And I heard it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't what it should have been when those ones came out. And then they apparently butchered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
But Lil Wayne
that made me want to get
Turtles.
it. That made was that one of them?
Yeah.
That's cool. That is one thing I miss about this one.
They don't.
I think there's an alien. I think. No, it was a skeleton.
Nothing.
There was one thing, but it wasn't to the extent of Spider-Man or Billy Joe from Green Day.
Or the guy from Kiss.
Yeah. Gene Simmons, yeah. Regardless.
How much does Peter Griffin cost? How much is that going to cost?
As he's grinded. Anyways, Pro Skater 1 and 2, this remake, it hit on everything that I wanted this remake to be, which was remind me of the originals. Remake everything. See, because a lot of polygons back then. I played it actually on the Nintendo 64.
That's why people don't recognize Tony Hawk, even though he's so famous. Like,
yeah.
Wait, he has a nose that's not a huge triangle.
Where's his helmet? That's not him. Anyways, yeah, it revamped everything, but it was still how you remembered it, just prettier looking. And it incorporated all the new upgrades that the game slowly progressed with, which I believe even had some stuff from 3 or Pro Skater 3 or Pro Skater 4.
It was reverts or something.
Yeah, reverts and then wall plants and stuff that wasn't in the original, but you're playing the originals with the reverts, with the wall plants, with certain moves and skills that just weren't in those. But it's like if they did remake it 1-to-1, then the game would be cool, but it wouldn't. I'm just happy they did that. They added all the new stuff, and none of it is broken because of it. They made the levels work. They scaled it correctly to where a revert literally just extends and makes it easier to keep that combo going, which is what you're trying to do. And not only that, you did your creative skaters. I created you. I created my wife. I created me. I created a friend of mine. And it wasn't perfect, but you could tell who we are. You could tell who we are. I wish
there were more character options.
I know, and I'm like, especially the hair. I mean, the hair options. But whatever, it wasn't as in depth as it. Or this is the most in depth it's been compared to the past. So I'm happy with what we have.
If they continue it, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I definitely
do a new one with the new faith built from this one.
Mm-hmm. I could even wait. You think there'd be a sequel? Do you think it'll be like DLC? Like, download 3 and 4.
I think just do a sequel. I would pay money. I would. Yeah. I'd pay $60.
They earned my trust with this, and as long as it's the same people making it. What was it? Jeez, it's bad. I should have done some research. Is it Vicarious Visions or something?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's Regardless, they did a fantastic job, and I'm happy that they did it. And they kept one of the most core important things that I was really worried about when they announced it was, were they going to have the same soundtrack? And for the most part, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 songs, they had all of them, the ones that mattered.
It is Vicarious Visions.
It is? Okay, good. Whew. They had all the ones that mattered, and then added new songs too that kind of fit with the theme, and I actually really liked.
Okay, I have one complaint about the game and 2 positives.
Okay, so sandwich it in.
When you start that game, Superman plays.
Yeah.
And then you press start, and it's over. Not playing.
I know. And it's cool because okay. The only time I liked that was the first time it happened, because it brought a huge smile to my face, because that's the song I've been waiting to hear. And I have it downloaded on my phone already. I mean, it's a fantastic song.
But it has that extra context.
Yeah. And then I'm like, all right, I finally got this game. Let's go. And then they do it, and then it starts, and I'm like, yes, press start, it's over. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And that's it. And now every single time I start it, it's a tease.
Yeah.
But if you are to have a song, that's the one to choose.
No,
I mean, that's such
a minor nitpick.
No, of course.
It's just, that's how great the start is.
What are your 2 positives?
2 positives. One, they patched it apparently recently. Maybe not recently, but they patched it since release. There was one aspect of it that was annoying for people, was once you go through the career.
Yeah, I saw that.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't redo it with a new character, and all the old goals will they're gone. It's all done.
Yeah,
they patched it, and you can do that now.
Yep, that's actually what I've been
restart. Doing. And that's cool.
I wanted to unlock some of the character skate videos. And I did all the challenges with Ronnie Mullen and unlocked that one. And then I wanted to know more about, because I don't know too much about skating besides a couple of them. And I'm like, who is this Letitia Buffont? Or I don't even remember her name. But I wanted to know what she was about. And obviously I could easily just Google it. But I'm like, well, this one gives me something to do while I'm playing this game. Because the game is so good. I beat it. I did everything you could possibly do in the game when it comes to the goals and all the challenges that each level provides. And then I was done. So I'm like, let me go through it again. And I'll just, because I was doing it with my character. And then, so then I did that again with her. I did all of them, got all the stat points, and I unlocked her video, and I got to see her skate, and it was cool. So that definitely a good game to have on your dash as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it digital.
Yeah, same here. That one I knew I need, especially with a game like that. Sometimes there was times where I put in 2 hours, sitting straight through. Let's get through it. And then sometimes I'd be like, let me just do a quick match or two. Pop that in real quick. What a good game. Definitely one to consider.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. One extra that might even get into my second good point. I don't recall what it was like at the originals, but I know I was big into like Thug, like Tony Hawk Underground, 2 and all that. And there was a lot of blood. Mm-hmm. And like, I broke my board. I'm so angry. There was like a meter you'd like mash to like break your board.
Yeah.
They took out the blood, and they now add like almost like can I call it a VHS like phase? Like whenever you fall and you get back up, there's like a
like a little glitch. Yeah,
that was a wonderful decision. Like, blood's not a huge deal, especially for like a 2-year-old. But
this game didn't have blood?
No.
Oh crap! That's what it was.
But like, I made my daughter, and she'll watch me play this.
Okay.
And she enjoyed watching it.
I want to say there's blood in this game.
I don't think so. Because whenever you like fall or anything, it just does like the glitch. You got Wreck-It Ralph over here with Vanellope. Now, I could be wrong, but I played it. I played it with my daughter, and I remember my wife was like, oh, skateboarding, I'm a '90s mom, and I'm gonna hate on this or something silly. But I was like, no, it's perfectly acceptable to watch, and
okay.
Like, I love a game that I can play with my daughter and not like have to worry at all. Well, and she was intrigued. Like, she was like, what the heck is this? Like, she's 2, but like, she enjoyed watching it. And I enjoyed her reacting to it.
Side note, just something to quickly say. I'm playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider right now. Mm-hmm. Harley loves it. I don't know why.
Stabbing him in the neck.
She was in the middle of like a crazy fit because we're trying to teach her to say please. And she did not want to say it. She's actually saying no instead of saying please for asking for something. So we weren't giving her what she wanted. And then while she's crying, I pop in Tomb Raider and she just immediately stops and just stares. And then I would pause it and let it run a bit. And then she'd go back to the crying. I'd pop it back in and she'd stop.
So it's the Wiggles of your house.
I guess. Anyways, continue.
We should collaborate and talk about something. The fighting game genre.
That's the opposite of collaboration. They fight each other.
But not if you do in like a team battle, like a Smash or something, which we never do. We should do that. Anyway, the fighting game genre is a great way to help you survive. Because they're always... they're pretty consistent.
Nowadays, they are consistently updating with content throughout the year. So whether it be new fighters... new stages, new modes, new outfits, whatever. Just they have season passes now. How many did you play?
How many fighting games did I play?
Well, not how many, but like, is there certain ones you want to mention that you specifically you played throughout 2020? As good examples of this.
I have one that I respect that game so much, and I wish I was playing it in 2020.
I know which one you're talking about.
Guess.
Oh, maybe I don't.
No.
Is it Fighters?
Oh, dang it! That's another one. I'm gonna get to Fighters.
Okay.
Once all the DLC's out, I'm gonna get to Fighters.
Yeah, right.
Like, I just want to play. I wish I could play a game with my wife. Like, just let's make our team go. She's so into Dragon Ball right now. But Fighters, I do plan on playing that.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Not probably online because by then I'll get destroyed. I was doing all right at the beginning, and I lost momentum. Fighters, I love it. I have been just so into Dragon Ball lately. That's a cast right there.
Dragon Ball Super.
I don't know why we haven't talked about that one.
Yeah.
But Tekken. I love what that game. There's definitely could have been improvements with like the single player stuff still, but like,
yeah.
But
take a page from NetherRealm.
Yeah.
Dude. Anyways,
I remember. I think there's one like fight where you're like little Cosmo or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Doing like the tornado kicks.
That was like the coolest thing they did. It was like, oh, something different.
But I respect that game so much, and it's a game I wish in 2020 I had played.
So wow, I actually played that game very frequently throughout 2020.
Okay.
With some friends from work, they for some reason, I think all bought it over last holiday break around Black Friday. Got some good deals on it, and yeah, all 2020, like every a couple days or week or something, they'd be on, and every now and then I join them. And it's fun, man. They're still doing good. I mean, I'm actually not getting all the content. I did download. I think I have 3 downloadable characters that I actually purchased.
Negan,
Negan, of course. I mean,
which is such a weird.
That's why I got it. I mean, I'm actually a big Negan fan. I like Walking Dead still. I'm one of the few people that are still watching. And I'm like, Negan in Tekken? Like, I didn't believe it. And then I saw the trailer, and I was waiting for like the April Fools at the end. I'm like, no, it's November. Like, I don't know. But regardless, yeah, I got Negan, I got Noctis, and I got I recently purchased Zafina because I saw one of my friends was using her, and I'm like, oh man, I used to use Zafina back in.
Who is she?
She's that Egyptian one that like crawls on the floor sometimes and like twists her body. She has 3 different stances.
I'm not familiar, I guess.
You gotta play Tekken, man. I'll show you. We'll get into it because we've had some fun game nights with Tekken.
Oh, Zafina.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you said Alfina. Anyway,
Aquafina.
No. Okay. I want to play that more. I have 2. I have season pass 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, you got more than me.
They're at 4 at this point, but
yeah,
I like Julia Chang, even though
I'm this close to buying her, but I don't know.
Then you got a new guy, Fukin Rockham or something.
You said that better than I did. I was saying some expletives when I first tried to pronounce that name. But anyways, yeah, Tekken's definitely one that I mean, that when did that game come out? Like 3-4 years ago?
2018.
No way. No, it was earlier than that because we were playing that in the apartment, and it wasn't. It was still kind of old then.
You're right.
I want to say 2016 or 2017, maybe early.
It came out in 2015.
Well, there you go. So it's been there a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jeez,
one that there's
5 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So not a bad option to have when you're trying to pass the time, especially if you like that genre. Tekken is one that, as you can see, is still being supported close to 5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any other ones?
I have a little bit of a bias because they've just not done my one character I want. But freaking Soul Calibur. It's a good game. It is a good game.
I never got a chance to try it, but I know they're good games because every time I did like play at a friend's house, they always catch my attention.
There's one mode, I don't know why they haven't added it. It's like team battle mode, and you pick like, let's pretend like we each have 5 characters, and you kind of do that Smash thing where like as soon as one dies, you go to the next one. Like I don't know why they haven't added that back, but like I really enjoy me some Soul Calibur. And there's one dude. Listen, Japan, put Yunsung in there. Just please do that for me. That's all I need. And they added a guy that like is kind of close to him, but it's not him, and it's not like he has a different fighting style.
It's
like there are still enough differences that people are still like, oh, they could still add Yunsung. It's not like, oh, okay, there's no way.
Right.
Like the character like half fills the role, but not all the way.
That's sad when they do that.
And I'm like, oh, come on, just give me my guy. Like they cut him out of 5 and 6. And I'm just like, just give me him. That's all I want. Like Soul Calibur when I was a kid was a game that like I would do this with like Melee as well. Like I'd make like storylines in my head and like play the against the computer, and like do whole friggin' storylines. I think pro wrestling really got in my head at the time, but like at the point where I stopped playing with action figures and doing like huge storylines, man, my Batman Beyond figure, he was the ultimate hero.
He was part of everything.
He was like a lightning one or whatever. Anyway, Soul Calibur was like my next action figure, so I have so much nostalgia for it, and I'm always willing to put in the time with it. And they got like the Nier Automata 2D in there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. For 2020, have they supported that game?
Yeah,
with characters.
It's a lot. It's a bit of a drip feed. Like they'll make you wait like 5 months to even say anything.
But still,
maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but not by much. And I just wish they would commit to it a little bit more. I'm willing to support that game.
Okay. One of the ones that I've been working at this year, I think more so than you have, with kind of recent exception, but Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I took a long break.
You did. You certainly did, because you were whining just like you did in Soul Calibur. You didn't have the character you wanted.
I had Noob and Cassie. Don't start. I enjoy Noob and Cassie.
No, you were missing Melina.
I was missing Melina. But I don't like saying that, because there's a lot of people that miss Melina that I don't want to associate with.
You're just like them in my eyes.
Death
threats to Ed Boon and Cast.
God.
Anyways. But yeah, that they released, they even really, so not only like with the fighting games, the main source of content is you get some fighters every now and then, right? You get the fighter pass and they come out. Mortal Kombat had a actual story mode expansion, which is very rare for fighting games to my knowledge. And that was Mortal Kombat Aftermath. I played that this year. And that was great. One thing NetherRealm does, the studio that makes Mortal Kombat, one thing that they do really well is story. You know, even if the story isn't the most amazing one, it's one that everyone should have at least some familiarity with if they ever played any Mortal Kombat. You know, it's pretty simple. However, the way they tell it, and especially in a fighting game where it's just like a 2D 1v1, they just make it flow so well between what the cutscenes and then how they transition into the actual fighting, which is the main crux of the game. And they released that expansion that had, I would say, like 4 to 6 hours of content, depending on how bad you are at the game. And then like 3 characters, and definitely something to consider. So, especially in times where if you like the genre, if you like fighting games, especially these days, I think fighting games are very good to have in your library, because it's a guarantee almost to have it be expanded as you have the game.
And Mortal Kombat's a good, like, if you don't want to play online, there's plenty for you to do.
Yeah, a lot of towers, a lot of modes, and then even with the online, not only is it online, but they have that
Combat League.
Yeah, the Combat League, and they give you incentives to play online.
Dude,
like, I don't play online unless I play Combat League.
Dude, I played the Combat League, and some young child was very upset with me.
Because you won? You beat him?
I won. He said I was spamming, but like he just kept spamming moves. So I was like, all right, I got to play a little more defensively and intelligently, like not just jump in. And he got really upset with me, and I'm like, anyway.
I hear you.
You'll
get that in any.
Yeah. And it was funny.
Yeah, I know.
He was an idiot, but if the violence, like the gratuitous violence, like upsets you at all, and you're like, oh, fatality is awful. Do the friendships.
That's true. They now have that option, and those are hilarious.
I mean, I guess the X-rays or whatever they're called now.
Close your eyes. You'll hear it, and then you'll know when it's done.
I do think, like, I think those are too long. Those moves.
The X-rays?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's either that or they're sometimes better than the fatalities.
Oh yeah, that I will agree with.
And maybe that's my problem with them.
Too good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like there's times like, oh, I just shot you in the head and took out your brain. And
have that be your fatality.
Like,
save your X-ray
no,
to
that's
the
just
end.
like I'm gonna get up. Like, I know it's just more combat or whatever, but I do wish they retooled that a little bit for 12. Because there are times where I'm like, man, that should be the fatality.
Yeah. I think, honestly, after over 12 iterations, I know they have like some spin-offs and stuff. I think they got to be running out of ideas.
I hear like apparently like some of the developers are like, they need some like therapy or something. Like, and not they don't actually probably go for it, but no. It's like seeing like people getting ripped apart all the time. Like that's your job. Like you got to model that every day. Yeah. Like, all right, this week I got to work on Kotal Khan's heart removal. Like it's just Kotal Khan, probably a lot.
The villain Mulan, according to you.
Bori Khan.
I know, but you did say Kotal Khan. Yeah. All right, and then so moving on from that, there is one that we both played this year.
King of Fighters.
King of Fighters. Let me tell you.
They just put a trailer out.
No,
Terry's in that game.
Get out of here. No, an actual good one. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
That is my most played game of the year.
Oh yeah,
and there's not even any story. There's not even any narrative. Like I'm just...
No, it's just that good, dude. It's a fighting game disguised as a party game. Yeah. And I know Mr. Sakurai would probably disagree, but
he's too busy working.
He's too busy to care. Anyways,
he looked like when he said like, I guess I'll never get a break on that one like Minecraft one. I was just like poor guy.
Yeah,
he just lives in that
his efforts are shown in this game, and the game is fantastic. I mean, there's no other game that has this amount of playable like fighters to the extent that they have them. What is it, like close to 70?
Yeah, we're past 70.
Yeah,
unless you're playing Mugen.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count. You're not playing though. It's AI, right?
No, I'm sure there's something.
No way, it's AI.
I mean,
it's got to be.
Someone programmed those characters,
I guess. Anyways, Super Smash, 70 plus characters to choose from, tons of ridiculous stages to choose from, music if you're into that, spirits if you're into that. You got the adventure mode or whatever they call it.
I think you need to pause. You just skipped over music. Like,
if you're into that.
No. Listen, we need to pause for that. I am such a fan of just video game music.
Yeah, I know you are.
And I know there's like a feature to
one of the ones that's into that.
I'm so into it. Like we don't need to talk about it for long at all. But I think we could do a video game music podcast. I don't know how we get through the YouTube partner. Censors.
You have to find a partner for that. That isn't me because I won't have much to say.
I am such a huge fan of what that team does with like remixes and everything. They're not all perfect.
No.
The Gladion one for Pokemon Sun and Moon, like, come on. You guys, you had a banger and you made it a whimper. But what I think really should be mentioned is going to come after your what you were saying. I would like for you to continue. I didn't interrupt you. You were mentioning there's music, there's spirits.
Yeah, the adventure mode and everything. There's a ton of for you to do in the game. The online is fine depending on your internet connection, but like most fighting games, it just depends on that. And then, of course, it's been consistently been updated with fighters. They have the Fighters Pass. They had the first one that's complete, and they're still working on the second one. And I don't know if this is the last one or not. Mm-hmm. And if it is, I mean, again, you're still at 70 different players to choose from, and potentially 80 by the time they're done with this. That's a lot of options for you to do. And to this day, still a great game to play.
And I will say that this game has spoiled me. And I know I can only speak for myself on this, because you definitely don't agree.
No.
But when they added Joker from Persona, I was jumping off the couch. I was like, there's no, like, what? This is insane. I was so just happy. The smile on my face.
I will say that I
booming.
I don't have any attachment to that franchise, which I know I've said a lot, but that's a cool ad. I will agree any day of the week. That's awesome to have that there. That is similar to when they announced Banjo for me.
Dude,
I was hyped. That I found that out at work, and I had to leave.
I've been saying duh honey for years.
Duh. Yeah, I had to like leave my post. Like I told my coworkers, I'm like, I'll be back. I gotta watch something, and I watched that reveal trailer. Oh, I came back with such a big smile that I told one of the people that I left, who's also a big Smash fan, and I'm like, yo, they got Banjo, man. And I texted him the trailer and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So much hype.
I remember that reveal came, like, they did the hero one from Dragon Quest, which I'm not, like, a huge Dragon Quest fan. I've played a few of them. I respect that series a ton. But I remember being like, man, I want a Banjo. Yeah. And I was, but I'm like, I get it.
But then they announced him back, right?
Well, what had happened was I was like doing summer school at the time, and I was looking at my phone, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I get it. There'll be more. Yeah. But because I was just so like wanting Banjo, and I kid you not, like the scream when I was in the car at a red light and I saw that they announced Banjo, like it was not a horror movie scream, but like it is an octave I cannot naturally hit again. I was so.
Are you sure? Wait, didn't I tell you that they had Banjo?
I remember it was around. No. I had seen it before.
Oh, okay. Because I remember someone reacting crazily when I told him that. Mm-hmm. I think it must have been another friend that I texted.
Like that was when I was a kid playing 64.
A game has to be truly special for us to get excited about one character being added. Because of what it means to the game, the fantastic game that's already there. So definitely, and I know Super Smash is popular and a ton of people have it. If you don't, you're really missing out. If you have any interest in fighting games in general or party games, because that whenever I have game nights at my house, that is the most played game.
And it pays such like a beautiful homage to like video game history in a way that no other game has done. And like
used to be mostly just Nintendo history, and now slowly with all these DLC characters, most of them being third party or not directly tied to Nintendo. Very interesting what they're doing. And
like what they did with Hero, like I respect, like they have like the 4 characters, and like one of the like even like with the voice actors, that like they try to like go deep with history, like the anyway, and then the addition of Terry, he's my favorite character in that game, and I only played him in like a 360 arcade game, like re-release I originally had bought like in 2008 or something. I love that guy.
Not all characters are winners, guys.
And then Byleth, I know you were so upset.
That was the.
I'm so into this game. Like I just thought, okay, the music that's gonna get added, I'm so happy. And then the freaking like Min Min was cool.
Yeah, she's one of my best characters now, and she's only been out a few months.
And Steve is very cool, even though I suck.
I do not like using him, but he is very entertaining to watch and a force to be reckoned with if you know how to use him.
And this is what I wanted to mention when I said I had interrupted you. We did a podcast where we talked about this is as greedy as we want to get. Yeah. And my most selfish pick was it happened.
I mean, no one really wants Byleth that hard. I don't understand.
Like they didn't do everything I wanted.
No,
because I was being like super selfish.
To get any of that is great. Yeah,
like to get Sephiroth, I was like Final Fantasy was like the least well represented. I wanted a redo on that. I wanted English voicing acting too, but even like the Final Smash, I wanted like I got that.
It was there,
and some of the music on there. And they didn't do any of the remake music that I really like, but like they added the You should play Smash.
Play Smash.
You should play Smash.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
He gets Sephiroth. I mean, maybe I'll get Harry Potter. Maybe I'll get Aang. Probably not.
I don't think you're gonna. Maybe you'll get Goku. Maybe they'll one day. Like,
no, they won't. Do that. He already said his name that he won't.
Because it's like Kakarot.
Oh, that'll be. Oh, what a twist!
If they add Trunks,
get out. I mean, I'd still be happy. They have Trunks, Hero.
That's true. Android 17.
Yeah, I mean that's. Hopefully, that was a good overview as to some ideas to have. Yeah, especially while you're waiting. Well, just anything to pass the time. How to survive without the new and shiny new
surviving the pandemic.
Surviving the pandemic, and then now, if you're just here, obviously the pandemic. Hopefully being in this last leg this year. Hopefully, now that the vaccines are out, now you can survive, as you attempt to get a new console and have new stuff to play.
It has changed.
But there's a ton of stuff that, as you saw that we recommended, probably something to consider to pass the time with in the meantime.
Now, what didn't help you pass the time?
I got some games. Mm-hmm. I will start out with one that I actually played accidentally. Okay?
Shrek Battle Royale.
No. I played this game. Okay. I guess I'll spoil what the game is now. Mm-hmm. Neo 2.
Oh, okay.
All right?
How do you play that by accident?
I'll tell you why. Because, wait. No, I'm sorry. It was Neo 1.
Okay.
Not the second one. Neo 1, they released it on PlayStation Plus. Mm-hmm. When I saw it, I was like...
You thought it was Sekiro?
I thought it was Sekiro. And I kept hearing how great Sekiro was. But I've also heard how good Neo is too. Mm-hmm. But Sekiro was on another level. It won Game of the Year. And I just remember being samurai. I see the dude on the front. He's got a samurai sword. I'm like, this is it. Oh, I was so excited. And I started playing it. And I'm like... What is this? Isn't good. Like I remember them saying it, like how hard it was. Like this is the hardest From Software game, and I remember like starting the game and not seeing their logo, and I was like, "Oh, did I miss it?" Whatever. I just kept going, and then I'm playing it, and I'm like, "This is not hard at all. This is really easy." And then I got to a kind of difficult enemy, and I was like, "All right," but I mean, I've like there's enemies, like there's starter enemies in Dark Souls 2 and 3 that are harder than this. And then it took me like, maybe it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours in, and I realized I'm like, I got duped.
I mean, it was PlayStation Plus.
I know. But it just, not, even if it wasn't the game I thought it was, if the game was still like, at least good to me, I would have kept playing. You know, whatever. I made a mistake. I got the wrong game.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
I just didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I played it and it just wasn't grabbing me. And I know if I put more time into it, but in that specific point in 2020, didn't have the time to, especially when it was already let down that it wasn't what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. I kind of had another game that prioritized itself over that one. Because once I realized it wasn't the game I wanted to play, I dropped it. In the words of Snoop Dogg, I dropped it like it was hot.
Mine for this this sort of like it didn't help us survive. I think these four. I think I'm definitely going to go back to.
Oh, okay.
I've got a list.
So not in regards to you not liking the game, you just had something happen.
Something happened.
Okay.
I feel like there's very few games I don't like. Like I can appreciate them in some way. I feel like I'm pretty open minded. I'm trying to think of a game. I'm just like, I hate this game, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe I'll do some soul searching and say it once we like.
Maybe get that could be a cast. Games we hate. Might not be that long on your end. I play
a lot. 50 Cent, Blood on the... Anyway, with my skull.
Number one.
No, but a game that I just wanted to get more into, but the gameplay is what made me stop. Paper Mario, the Origami King. The writing in that is so just delightful. Okay. I have fun just like... I wish the combat wasn't there. or just there's so much of it. And it's it's like the puzzle mechanics in there. Like what the fighting is all puzzles. And I kind of wish it was just like a more like lame RPG. But it's such a fun world they built. But there's just so much fighting. And I want to continue, but then I know like I gotta do more than puzzles. And I figured out the puzzle, and it's been so long since I went back that I could probably like the puzzles will all be new at this point. But just knowing like I'm doing the puzzles to see the writing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna allude to. It was sounds like you want to experience what the game has to say, not how it plays.
Yeah, maybe I should just watch a playthrough. But that feels.
Yeah, besides the point, I mean, you have the game, might as well.
Yeah, I want to.
But you know, if it's not interesting to you, I wouldn't force it because then you're not gonna like it as much.
But it's very clever.
Okay. All right, so for my next one, this one wasn't so much a game that I didn't like. I just didn't like it enough to continue playing. But I tried a game called Spellbreak.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That game came out. It was free. It's free to play. One of those games. I was intrigued with an article headline like, "Oh, Spellbreak is Avatar: The Last Airbender, but in an MMO," and I was like, or something like, no, as a what do they call it? Freaking Battle Royale. Yeah, and I was like, oh, "You had me at Avatar: The Last Airbender." And I look it up. I'm like, this could be cool. And then I even had strangely enough, one of my managers who I'd rarely talk to about games at my job tell me, he's like, you know that Spellbreak game? I'm like, oh yeah, that's like the Avatar one. It's like, yeah, you should give that a try. It's pretty good. And I was like, okay, that's something I did not expect to hear. And I went and gave it a try. No joke. The very first match I played, I was first place. Now this was when the game was brand new and everyone knew how to play. And I didn't know how to play, but I just somehow made it. But then, as I played more and more...
what's it called?
Spellbreak.
More like Spell Fixed.
Oh. It was... I didn't have any problems with the game, with how it ran or anything. It was good. I was surprised. Then I realized with those kinds of games, the reason I don't play too many Battle Royales is because... if you're not playing with someone you know, everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Not everyone follows the team thing because you can't really communicate when you don't have a mic.
I mean, I've played Fortnite solo only.
Well, yeah, but I feel like the best experience with those is if you have
definitely
and everything. And then with this game being so new and everyone knew what they were doing and everything, and then there would be a lot of times where I was just by myself and I'm just trying to find anybody to fight. And then when I'd fight them, it was cool. Mm-hmm. But after a while, everything kind of felt the same. There was tiers to like your elemental powers and everything, but ultimately felt like I was kind of like watching like the same stuff over and over. Now I know with more gameplay, those stuff could those powers could evolve, but it didn't hook me up enough to keep me interested. I had my win, and I went back, and I lost pretty bad, and then I kept going. So I only played maybe like 10 matches.
Okay.
And a lot of them, I got pretty close with, and a lot of them I got decimated, but that's just Battle Royale for you in general. But yeah.
Well, if they added Wolverine,
I'd be more interested to go back. I have yet to delete the game.
Okay.
So that should tell you something. I am interested to see it evolve in the future, and maybe with more maps and more stuff added, I might go back. Okay. You got anything else on your
I got another Switch game. Came out this year.
Alright.
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
That's that
the Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty. Jesus.
I played the first
Dynasty Warriors.
I played the first Hyrule Warriors. Really enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't a perfect game, but I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna beat this game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I definitely stalled on it. There's something about like those games you're like killing hundreds of enemies and you get thousands. Yeah. There's something about the way and that game I really loved Breath of the Wild and it's like a prequel to that. Mm-hmm. So it's like actually Nintendo trying to like do something cool with it. And
a lot of people are respecting
have a story. Like I can really respect the decisions here. Mm-hmm. But there's something about like whenever my hits land, there's no like I just don't get a good feedback from it.
There's no oomph.
Yeah, there's just something missing, and I don't know how to exactly describe it. I guess oomph is the right phrase.
That was one of my main complaints with PlayStation All-Stars. Okay. When you would hit somebody that didn't feel like there was a good impact.
And I'm killing so many things, and I don't know how you fix that. I'm sure there's someone that can help me, but figure that out. But I want to play it. I enjoy it. But I wish I felt satisfied taking down enemies. And you take down so many enemies, so now
how do you think you're going to go back if you're not getting satisfied with the main crux of the game?
Breath of the Wild 2 is going to happen. And I like seeing where that storyline is going. And part of me keeps thinking like...
You already know where it's going. This is a prequel.
Right. But I would like to... I kind of want to figure out what would fix it.
Maybe some patches?
I don't think I don't think... But I
there's a certain...
I'm going to get Persona Scramble, whatever that's called. I got to beat this Dynasty Warriors before I buy another.
All right.
What you got? I'm interested in you hearing my next one. I don't think you'll expect it on the list.
I guess my last one And
you had 4.
Yeah. This is my last one, right? How many did I say?
You said 2 so far. Spellbreak and the Neo.
Right. Okay. So I have one of them. This one is Among Us. Okay. Everyone kept talking about this freaking game all year and how great it was to play during quarantine and all that stuff. And I respect it. And I'm happy that it got as big as it did. You were saying students were playing in your class with it. Freaking politicians are playing it on Twitch. A whole bunch of stuff's happened with this game, and I'm happy for it. I go to a birthday party, and safely, and we all decide to play. Well, they all decide to play Among Us, right? So I have to download this freaking game on my phone. I did not like playing that game, at least in the context that we're like. I could see it being good if I had sat down myself and learned to slowly kind of try to play. But everyone already knew how to play the game except for me. Mm-hmm. So everyone's like, yeah, we're just gonna do this. All right, yeah, go to this. And everyone's like talking about areas of this ship and what you're doing, like, oh, make sure you go fix the pipes. And I'm like, well, what mechanic is that? So I was kind of thrown into this game, and I honestly, I don't think that's the way to do it. And we were all like, ultimately the main part of the game is, finding out who the killer is. That part is fun, but all the stuff in the meantime, at least with me not knowing exactly what I was doing, I did not like. We played, I think, maybe 3 or 4 matches of completing it, of either us figuring out who he was or him winning or whatever. I didn't like it. I didn't like it enough. I wish I would have played that game on maybe like a console. I know it's out on Switch. I didn't play it on Switch. Mm-hmm. It actually came out kind of recently, actually. When I played it, it was only on mobile or PC.
I've never played it.
Okay. I would like to try that again in the future. Maybe once it comes to PS4.
Okay. And
then that way we can play with headsets, because I don't know. I didn't like playing on my phone. Like, kept looking down. My neck was hurting. I don't know. I had to like kind of keep the phone in one spot so no one could see my screen. I don't know.
I feel like that.
I know what the game is trying to do. It did not hit for me, at least in the environment I was in.
Yeah, the environment seemed to heavily impact this.
Of course, yes. But because of that, I have not had any motivation to go back since. I think I might have even removed it from my phone, the app. I'm not sure. Oh, no, it's there. Okay. What you got?
These next 2, I think, will go by quickly.
Hopefully.
For me. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is a weird one in that you can play a lot of it and survive. But that game kind of sucks.
You're stupid.
But it's good. It's just... Okay, listen. That part I sent you a snap of the ending. One of those endings. With my Cassandra.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's just a game that, like...
That's just... that's the bad roll of the dice. You got the wrong ending.
No. That's
not the ending I got.
Because you didn't get the second and third ending. That's just a game that, like... I love Greek mythology so much, and it just does not scratch that itch. And I'm gonna play the DLC. I got that on sale a while back, but it's a game that, like, I don't want to play, but I want it to scratch that Greek mythology itch. And I love the Odyssey. I teach it at work.
Right.
And for them to say Assassin's Creed Odyssey and do what I almost feel is like throwing away the references, because they do have plenty of references. There's like a bunch of like DLC quests that, like, free DLC quests they added that are of like you're following the path that the guy in the Odyssey does, and it just was like the most. And maybe I'm looking at it with the wrong perspective, but it's like so lazy and like uninspired, and like
Cyclops.
Yeah,
the guy with one eye.
No, because there's other.
Oh, okay.
It just was like, man, Polyman was disappointed.
I could see that if you had an idea of what Odyssey was. I mean, not an idea. I mean, you teach it, so you know what Odyssey is, So, well, I guess you build an idea from that with what you would want in the game, and then not hitting that, I could see that definitely be a disappointment.
Not at all. Like, there's a point where there's a witch named Cersei, and she's like surrounded by pigs, and I'm like, oh, this is like exactly what I want.
Game of Thrones.
And it's the most like stupid quest. Like nothing. It's solved within 2 minutes. Okay. It's uninspired.
All right.
And for them to just make it so throwaway when Odyssey is in the freaking title.
If you had to guess,
I hung on that statue's penis. It was a Zeus.
I did that right away.
Yeah.
Once I could, I was like, hell yeah. If you had to guess, how many hours did you play of Odyssey?
I think 60.
That's a lot.
It is. And I am like bitter the whole time.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's like I hate myself. Anyway, if you want, that's a great game to survive with. It'll fill plenty of time.
Yeah, if you don't
go play Valhalla, I guess. Or do you want Egypt? Do you want Norse? Or do you want Greek? You got great flavors.
Some options. Sounds great as a good one.
You should play it if you want a Days Gone kind of feel.
Right. All right, my last one I don't have to jump in or have to say too much with, but my last one is Fall Guys.
Okay.
I did play that, just not enough. I get what the game is trying to do, and I had some fun with it when it first came out. I was like laughing along, but then I realized that I know the controls are supposed to kind of be bad, but they were, and I didn't like that.
Okay.
Like, it was just weird, like the way like how you have to hang on to stuff or deal with everybody, or how everyone. Well, I guess I can't really complain about people grabbing you and pushing you off, because that's kind of the point of these kind of games. But the controls didn't feel tight for me to continue playing. Like, it didn't feel skill. It felt like lucky. Like, I feel like one of those, like the beginning matches where everyone's in the game. Like, I forgot how many people could be in the game, and then they slowly get eliminated or quickly get eliminated.
50?
That sounds about right. A lot, right? Sometimes, like, there was one that everyone complains about. It's like a seesaw level. There's like seesaws, and depending on how many people are on one part of the seesaw, you can fall off. I happened to spawn at the front of that line. I breezed through that, not a single problem. And then another few matches later, I spawned at the end. It was hell.
There's one trophy you have on there that annoyed me. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get that one.
The 5 matches in a row.
Something stupid.
Yeah, it was. I get what it's doing. I didn't like it. That's it. I only gave it maybe 7 attempts, and then I gave up. Didn't like it enough to keep going. The controls were not tight enough. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like me losing was my fault. I felt like it was the game's fault sometimes.
Okay. My final one here. I don't know if you're aware of it. Crosscode?
No.
Okay. Indie game. Like 2D. It's very puzzle-y, but also like combat. And it's a game I had because of Game Pass.
Alright.
But it's just like, especially with a kid, I have gotten really spoiled with the whole idea of the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a game that, like, I wish I could play it. I wish I had it so I could play it handheld. Because there's something about just, like, having to hide away in the room to play this, like, 2D indie game. It's just, I need it handheld if I'm going to play it.
Wait. You couldn't be handheld?
Because I got it from Game Pass.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Maybe there's, like, that streaming thing they were doing or something. I forget the name of what they were called.
Project XCloud.
But just really cool, kind of like you're like a person living in an MMO world kind of deal. And there's this really cool like bit about it is that your character doesn't speak. And usually I hate that trope.
Yeah, I was about to say, a lot of games do that.
I despise that trope, but that's part of the story, it seems.
Oh, okay.
And like,
so they're not talking to you like you are speaking to them.
Right.
It's like they know that you can't speak.
Yeah, and it seems like my character was getting more words, and it seemed like that was maybe part of the story as well. But just that I wish they had focused more on the Switch port, because apparently the performance on that isn't too good.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's another hurdle that I'm like, man, I just wish they
Okay, so the main reason, so you were interested in the game, just it didn't fit your scheduling as needed.
And it doesn't seem to perform well enough yet on the Switch. And
so there is a port?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it just doesn't seem to have good performance. And there's one Switch game I've played that the performance was... I'm shocked I beat that game.
Is it how bad it was?
The Sexy Brutale. It's a great name. And the performance was so bad, but I really enjoyed that. It was like a puzzle murder mystery. And I don't want to deal with that again. All right, everybody, it's the moment y'all been waiting for. The educated discussion and awards. We are going to get that water.
That you're not gonna leave that in there.
I might leave that in there.
Don't do that.
Anyway, we are finally gonna give out the Edie's, the first ever Edie's.
People probably like check their computers like what just happened.
Educated discussions or have been had, and we have decided. Listen. There's great ways to spend your time and survive. There's ways that we found didn't increase the enjoyment of the survival. But here's the very best ways to survive.
Oh,
the top 3 tips.
Now, the top 3 that we're talking about here are only games that released last year. So
Correct.
Technically, this is kind of like a game of the year.
This is the 2020 ED Game of the Year.
All right. So the games that we enjoyed our time with the best in 2020.
The cream of the crop.
Ooh, I got some good creams and crops. Let me tell you. You want to lead?
No, I did my educated voice. So.
You sure did. People logged off. If they even made it this far.
It's send the word arm with 2 A's if you made it this far.
Finally it changes.
Assistant to the assistant regional manager.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So, you want me to say my third?
Yeah.
So, we're doing top 3. You mentioned that, right?
Top 3.
Okay.
Top 3.
I've already mentioned my third one for the year. So, I'll make this one brief. Tony Hawk.
Okay.
1 and 2 remake. I'm not going to repeat what I said earlier. It was great. It was a great game. Yeah. I love it. I still play it. It's just good. I can't add much more to than what I already said.
Buy it so they can make more.
Yes. I hope
give them money.
It does well so it can get more.
Mm-hmm. Tony Hawk, he seems like a cool guy.
Oh, he's really cool. Did you see that the other day? He made up another new trick.
No.
I don't know. A friend of ours sent it to me. Well, I guess I can say first names. Brandon sent it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he did I don't even know what it was. Like, it wasn't like crazy or anything. But he did something with the board on one of them half pipes or whatever. This guy still got it, man. I don't know how old he is. I know he's in his 50s, I believe.
Really? Okay.
God, he's still got it, dude. And he like did something recently with like let me do a certain move without spilling my milk. And he had a glass of milk and he did something in there, but he held it up the whole time and he landed and he drank it and he's like, got milk. I don't know if he said that or not, but he should have.
Listen, if you don't want to support Tony Hawk or the skateboarding lifestyle, I'm sure even the man who claims he hates all music and video games himself would agree.
Not all music. The music in that game
Tony Hawk is one of the only avenues in which the punk and ska and rock genres are
and even rap
put at the forefront. And yeah, a little bit of that too.
A little bit of rap in the new one.
Like, I've found new songs that I've added to my phone because of that game. I'd like to, support it, get even more.
Yep, that's my third. Right. What you got for 3?
We're not going to talk about this one much because it needs to come up later. I had a toss up on this, and it was your 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure.
My 1 and 2.
And I actually was ready to swap out one of what is probably your number 2 for this, but then I thought that this one deserves to be higher. The Last of Us Part 2. Number 3.
Why are you saying it at 3?
Number 3.
1 hasn't happened yet.
This is my number 3.
Okay, at least I made the top 3.
I feel like this game may show up on other parts of the list.
Perhaps, I don't know.
I would imagine we want to end positive. So, should I go into why it's only at 3?
I mean, only on your top 3 games that you played
just what
in all
kept
2020.
What kept it from 2?
I feel like we've said it enough.
Mm-hmm. They didn't hear that one?
Okay, go ahead. Briefly, for the sake of time.
Just a summary of why it's my number 3.
Okay.
Fantastic combat. Mm-hmm. That maybe goes a little too long in terms of a few too many encounters.
Okay. It's a long game, so it's gonna happen.
A story that made me feel very different emotions, but has a conclusion that gave me what I've wanted out of video games for a long time. But the journey there in the last 10%, I wasn't a fan of. I felt you
didn't agree with.
It was at its most Walking Dead boring aspect of a season. Your the final enemies.
Yeah.
That just left such a taste in my mouth. I'm like, and I can see narrative from a developing perspective why you'd want to do that. Mm-hmm. But
it was more of a world building perspective.
It was the most boring world building they could have done. In my opinion.
Not every part of the world is great.
But it was boring. I gotta edit that out now.
My bad. As I was saying it, that's why I trailed off.
Oh no, I'm recording all this. All right. Oh god.
All right. So for the people that don't know what just happened, I accidentally said where we live. So, anyways, all right.
Gave out my social security now. What are you talking about?
I'm curious to see how you're gonna edit that out.
I'm just gonna put a inappropriate noise.
Okay.
I'm writing edit in all caps. Anyway, it was boring in my opinion, and what should have been
the ending
high
sequence.
Point.
You mean
the ending sequence? No, just what led to the ending sequence.
So I just want to. You don't mean the whole game is boring?
No.
That last batch of enemies that you saw and the area that it was in. So.
Yeah, and I expected going into that game there would be more of the I'll just call it a triple threat, where there's you, infected, and a third party, and I'm shocked that they were so restrained with that. And I would have liked to see more, because there's, at least with the 2 playthroughs I did, I can count on less than one hand the amount of times there was a triple threat scenario. And that could just be the way...
I'm confused with what you mean. In one area where you're dealing with 2 different... an infected and another faction?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I would have liked to see more of that.
All right, yeah, I guess I can see that.
So it's a great number 3. I had some issues
Some
with
would say number 1. I don't know.
I had some issues with with just the portrayal of minorities and the usage of them. Fantastic game, but there's just too many parts that hold it back for me from being a number 1. But anyone who chose it as a number 1, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, some would say they're really smart. I don't know.
Well,
they're handsome.
They're educated, at least.
They're very educated.
I don't know where they got their degree, but...
Not from a good place, but it still counts. All right, well...
But again, and I feel like it's going to come up, I really enjoyed playing it. And I played it a second time, and my wife sat through that very long game.
Yeah, that's good.
And she was into it.
Yeah, it's a good game. Mm-hmm. All right, so that was your number 3. Mm-hmm. My number 3 was Tony Hawk. So my number 2, Call of Duty. No, I'm just kidding.
People like Warzone.
Yeah, that's actually on my list of the games that I played this year. I only played 4 matches, so I was like, I don't need to play any more of this. My number 2 game would have to be Ghost of Tsushima. Mm-hmm. I like that game. That's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, anything else to say?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, come on, very beautiful. Combat was great. Graphics were pretty good. It was kind of a little drawing, or is that the word, drawing? I was kind of shocked for a second after I came back to it because Last of Us came out first, and then you jumped into Ghost of Tsushima, and then it just wasn't as good graphics, but they definitely compensated for the lack of realism in the graphics with their abundance in style. You know, visually and just how everything just meshed together. It just created like this, I don't know, beautiful painting at all times. Like when you're looking at it, like there'd just be just the grass moving, the leaves, the sun rays hitting at the right spot, the wind, the visual wind that you would see, like the little swishes in the air, and just everything just flowing at once at times would be just mesmerizing. So, top that off with an open world game where it has 3 different islands that each have their own kind of flavor and style to it. Some beautiful, some dead, some cold, snowy, just different environments that you could, depending on how you're feeling, once you have everything unlocked, you can kind of go in that area and just explore it. You throw in a solid story in there. I did find it a little lacking with some of the characters in the game. I feel like there was like certain scenes that we mentioned that you and me really liked specifically.
Yeah, I want to bring that up again.
Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah. They had so much promise, and they touched on that just a little bit. And I'm like, if you just would have leaned into that just a little bit more, this game could have been, I still don't think it would top my number 1, but it would be a lot closer to it than it is now. Okay. And I think it would also help a lot of people's choices on Game of the Year if they were to lean on that, because they had some really powerful stuff in that game and some really great acting, but that wasn't consistent throughout. However, the game was great. I mean, I think I platinumed it, right? Yeah, I platinumed it. So I did everything there is to do in that game that apparently they want you to do. So I definitely put in a lot of time and survived my 2020 with it.
There is that one moment in a cutscene that I was, because I remember playing the game, I was a little like, okay, it's fine. There was one cutscene though where I was just like, I'm in this. Like, this has made me feel like an emotion.
Yeah.
And like I am ready to get hurt. And then they never.
Yeah, they didn't capitalize on that.
I'm like, what? Like, some of the best acting I've seen, I would say, like, above Last of Us. Like, that one moment I felt was better acted than anything in Last of Us.
I would not say that at all. Okay. But it was up to the quality that Last of Us hits.
No, you have a lot of, like, backstory with characters and everything, so maybe that helps heighten it.
On the Last of Us side, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I guess.
This didn't have the extra context.
I think it did, because the way they introduced that character, this is really hard without spoiling it. But there was a history there. There was a history with this character that was established.
Not with the lengths of Alley, though.
Oh no, of course not.
Near. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is, you are right. With obviously one game, The Last of Us having 2. The fact that they were able to hit those emotional highs, what would you say? Maybe
Last
about
of Us
halfway
does so much
into
better.
the game? It was about halfway into Ghosts, right? When we saw that scene?
I don't know, because there's multiple islands, maybe even at like 40%.
Yeah, somewhere around there. The fact that they were able to hit that quickly in it makes me hopeful that these guys will get even better at this. And it was very impressive. But like you said, it just wasn't consistent.
There was,
well, like I said,
there was I almost put this over Last of Us, and I was surprised I was thinking that. I played. I said this off the air. I played one of the older Assassin's Creeds recently.
Yeah,
and the whole time, because this is the Ghost of Tsushima is very, like, I don't want to say classic Assassin's Creed, but like post first Assassin's Creed. in terms of the tools available to you and the way you can go about everything. And I went back, and the whole time I was like, man, this Ghost was really good because this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And it was Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry I was playing. It's like DLC for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Syndicate, so I maybe I'd have to go back to that one to be sure, but it made me wish I was playing Ghosts. And I didn't think I'd think that. And it made me better appreciate the comment there.
Yeah.
And if I were to have a choice right now between that and Last of Us, I would play Ghosts right now.
Well, you play Last of Us twice.
And I played Last of Us twice. But when in terms of the combat encounters, I'm up for more Ghosts. I would play more of that.
Ghosts is great.
Yeah.
I wish we both had it so we can play that
and
thing
that
together.
Multiplayer,
yeah, I haven't got a chance to play it because I don't know anyone like super personally that would still play it now and like talk with me on the mic.
If you want to play it with Felipe and you got it, send the code on the comments. Big Arm with 2 A's.
All right, yeah, send that and then I'll add you, whatever.
Great number 2.
Yeah, thank you.
And is deserving of a future number 1 if they can push in the right directions.
Mm-hmm. Ghost of Tsushima 2, you know what's happening.
Ghost of Tsushima. And can they please
That's a missed opportunity if they don't do it.
Can they do a proper lip sync for the Japanese voice? I wanted to do that.
It's a lot of work, but I'm sure it can be done.
Yakuza did. I was joking. They did it in Japanese. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No. That game's great. I'm sure
right.
people have heard plenty of it. So your turn. What is your number 2?
You already know, but like the fact that this isn't number 1.
Oh, I forgot. I was like, what's your number 2? Oh yeah.
The fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake is not my number 1 is insane to me. Like this is at least when in terms of like video games, like I felt spoiled playing Final Fantasy VII. I like put on I never use my like Sony headphones. For this game I did, just so I could like hear fully that soundtrack and fully experience it. I don't play demos anymore.
You played that demo.
I haven't played a demo in 8 years, probably.
I don't believe that.
No, I played the Mass Effect 3 demo. I remember that was the last demo I played before this one. I played that demo. I played it more than once. I don't play the demo more than once. Like I was so just like.
Well, PT's got something to tell you about that.
That's true. That's true. But I played PT in your house. So if we're counting that as a demo, then yeah, I played PT.
You're welcome.
At that point, it's just its own software, I would say. But I felt like this was like a dream come true, and that seems maybe a little like exaggerated, but I mean it.
I believe it.
Like I play that game. I played the original game. I play it once a year.
I remember when they first announced that game.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I thought, because I don't care about Final Fantasy VII, the first thing I thought is, Elmo is. I can only imagine what his reaction to this is going to be. I wish I was there to see you. To see your reaction when it was first brought up on that. What is it? It wasn't. It was E3.
It wasn't.
It was E3.
Yeah.
Did it end with that?
No,
I think it ended with it, right?
I don't know if it ended, but
it was close to the end. Regardless, when that, I can only imagine. So yeah, I knew what this meant to you.
For them to take what was my childhood and blow it up and let me like live in there, dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've wanted this game for so long. I remember as a kid not understanding development, and there'd be like rumors like in like Game Informer, like, oh, the remake, it'll never happen. I'm like, just do it. The script is right there. You don't gotta rewrite anything.
Yeah, make it pretty.
Just why does Harry Potter take so long to come out? the script is right there.
Yeah.
Like I was in those days of my life, but I want to end positive here. But like it's held back by, I think Japanese developers sometimes get stuck in their ways a little bit, and thinking of how they should handle scenarios in terms of like what they think is cool. And I don't know what I'm really talking about, I guess, but like sometimes they're like, oh, let me do this like slowly walk and sidle past this this ledge. Let me walk slowly across this edge kind of deal. Or like, you remember when you were like climbing like and trying to swing over to things? There was one time you were complaining about having to like swing
definitely
on
the controls of pretty much anything you do that's like a monkey bar.
Yeah.
That you're hanging and moving was god awful.
It's like just things
I don't want to take away from your enjoyment of the game.
But there were things that I don't think needed to be in there. And I don't know if are you really saying you didn't like it? You beat that game.
I beat it honestly mostly for you.
Okay.
Just to say I experienced it because I know how much that game means to you, and I wanted to fully give it the try that I wanted to.
It can't have been so bad though. You did finish it.
There is some.
You were into Aerith.
She was great. I don't want to bring this into a negative thing.
I said Last of Us negatives.
Well, no, but it's still in your top 3. This would not even be in my top 10.
That's not true. You only played like 5 in this year.
Okay, well, I guess of what I played this year, it would be 5.
But
put Dreams above this.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. It's hard to say. There is some things. Ultimately, I ended up liking it more than I thought I was going to. So I will give it that. Really? Okay. I don't like these kinds of games. I'm not a big Final Fantasy person. Like, the only one I liked, and I say it in quotes because it was my first one, was 13. And even then, it wasn't that good. I liked, what's her name? Vanille?
I just made a face.
They're just not for me. These games aren't for me. And with the hype that was with this game, and everyone talking about how much they love it, I think I just let the hype build too much for me. And then it just didn't hit what the hype was.
I do think this is a game that...
And just a real quick to kind of defend my 13 thing, which is not a good defense. Everyone said how terrible that game was. So when I jumped in, it wasn't terrible. Okay. I'm like, it really isn't that bad.
I remember at the time, I've soured on it over time, but I remember originally being like, this is fun. But then the part people like is when I started not liking 13.
When it opened?
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like fighting and just for the sake of fighting was what it seemed like. Anyway, we're talking about 7. We're talking about 7, not 13. We're going to the future.
Yeah.
By going down in numbers. There was just... I think this is a game that almost is... It's not that it's held back by its original, but there's just so much from that original referenced. Like I was consistently shocked. I'm like, oh my god, they actually brought that up. Mm-hmm. That stupid hand.
Yeah.
Like
which I hated. That
didn't need to, like, and this is why it's 2. That hand part did not need to be that long. That was so drawn out. And I know what they were doing with Cloud's character at the time, and I was willing to like forgive it because I was seeing I knew where it was going. Mm-hmm. But like every time where he'd like, and I'm just gonna spoil this part. It is nothing. He like, I missed the high five. Like the first time I was like, okay, but he's trying like he was just like, huh? And then the second time, like he tried to high five. It went like a time too much, and he eventually high fived her, and I was like, yeah, he's warming up. He's like not being a douche.
Yeah,
and it's for them having to like play with like his character development and kind of change the speed of which it comes is a hard challenge. But it was fascinating to see unfold, and then my discussion with you off the air about what my theory is as to that storyline, that's insane.
It is.
And I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All signs point to you being correct.
Which,
like, other people's theories as well, not just yours, have all pointed to something extremely similar to what you said.
Like, I'm so, like, they made me very curious as to how this continues. I wish they were a little better with their marketing. I remember my cousin was playing this, and like he was near the end, and I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I can't wait for part 2." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "It's good. You're at the very end." He's like, "Wait, what? I'm not even on disc 1." I'm like, "Yeah, you're not getting anywhere that you think you're getting." Like he thought this was gonna be like a 300-hour game. Like,
so he had already played the original.
Yeah, he was like thinking, "Oh man, I got another
400
hours."
We're just getting started, everybody.
He thought he was gonna do the whole thing. I was like, no. And he was very upset that I when I revealed that to him. Anyway, fantastic experience for me.
I'm very happy for you.
I'm such a fanboy, and for them to do that, they made my childhood dream kind of come true. But then that door with the PS1 graphics and the hand.
That's why it's not number one. Everybody.
But they made their ability to take everything and use it.
Like for people like you that grew up with it, that know that game like the back of their hand, and for them to just take those references, bring them and use them the way they have, and then not only just remake
that
the
house,
game, the house, and not only
I wish that wasn't in the trailer. Because that would have been a amazing moment.
And not only just remake the game, but from what it looks like they're doing, remixing it in a way that I think unfortunately only makes sense to those that are fans of the original. Mm-hmm. Again, for someone like you, this is gamer heaven. Like this is up there. And I know, and like how you mentioned, I am surprised it's not your number one. And
I'm almost not that I feel bad for you, but I wish you had a thing like that. I don't think you have a similar.
No, I don't have
anything.
Anything. I guess
I mentioned that to my wife.
To the extent that you did. Mm-hmm. No, the closest thing is Tony Hawk. Yeah. I played those when I was a little kid, and to see this new one done right is just so good, and I'm very happy. Obviously, it being my 3, but no, I didn't play it the same, because you was technically only just the one game, whereas Tony Hawk had multiple. I did the Underground, I did a little bit of Project 8,
Bam Margera.
All that stuff, American Wasteland, I did all of them, so it was a new one each time, whereas you're just playing the exact same game over and over again. But even at the time that you played it, I feel like visually there was still less for you to see being held back. What was PS1, right?
Yeah.
Being held back on the PS1, it wasn't. I don't know. I gotta have to look at it again, but there's more of a jump from that game to this one than the Tony Hawk's to this new Tony Hawk. So I can definitely see that being a huge grand surprise to you.
There are pacing issues. There's especially that's when knowing where it's going is to its detriment. The train yard part, way too long. Knowing what was about to happen. And then there's parts where they're like, hey, Aerith, go do this. And she's walking. When it's no, you should be running in this scenario. What are you doing? There are some weird decisions that ultimately hold it back from number one. But it is there was such a huge jump, like you said, from 2 to 1 for you. From 3 to 2 for me, there was an astronomical jump. From my number 3 to my number 2. I really liked Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, gotcha.
I am in love, beyond love, and in gaming heaven with Final Fantasy VII Remake. And we'll add that, to my yearly rotation of playthroughs.
This new one?
Yeah.
When that new one comes out, you can play that again.
Wait, the second part? Dude, no, that's just... Anyway, you're number 1.
By the time that part 4 comes out or whatever, if you're doing it yearly, no, not even that. If you're doing that yearly, that's all you're gonna play. If you're doing part 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my! But I'm so I would love that possibility. I'm excited about that idea.
All right. So my number 1, guys. This might come as a shock to you, but there's this little game called Death Stranding. By Koji. No. Last of Us. No, I'm sorry, my bad. I don't want to do a disservice to this amazing game. The Last of Us Part 2 is my number 1 choice. I give it the ED, Educated Discussions Award, for Game of the Year. Last of Us Part 2. That is the only correct choice anyone should have. You accidentally set it on your 3rd over the 1st, which we can fix now if you want to chime in. However, now that we are number one, it makes sense to say that game because you said it earlier for some reason. I think you got the order mixed up.
Yeah, I said Ghosts. Anyway, yeah, sorry. I got the game mixed up there.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
It's because you had most recently mentioned Ghosts. That was in my head.
Anyways, yeah, as you could tell from like every single gaming related podcast that we've done on our channel of 2020 when we started it, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, this game this says everything that I want in a game and then some, and it does it to an amazing level. It provided great discussions, which is half of our name, to be honest, if you think about it. It provided just great discourse throughout the year, great well, I want to say, I don't want to say great controversy, but controversy that led to discourse, which, still ties in. It's just, there's not much more to say on it than has been said, but briefly, like you mentioned earlier for your false number 3, great combat, great story. Yeah, there's some things that is subjective that people won't like. I ultimately liked pretty much everything that they were doing, with a couple exceptions. There's some times where it drags.
I am Manny Holmes.
He was fine.
My wife liked him a lot more than I did.
Yeah, a lot of people liked him. I warmed up to him, but I was. Oh, never mind. I was about to get into spoilers, but anyways, whatever. I loved just about everything that game had to thrown at me, and like how we mentioned, like just one of the biggest accomplishments that game had was taking a character that I was destined to hate and flipping that around and making me warm up to this character by the end of the game. Still not loving him/her. Well, that's not a comment on the I don't want to spoil who it is. Oh, I'm sure everyone knows. Not to comment on that character. Like, everyone freaking likes this person way more than I do in the end. But the fact that they were even able to have me like this person is a huge accomplishment.
Okay, yeah, I like this person a lot more. I was not aware that you were as down on this person as you were making it seem. I don't like the person you seem to like as much.
Well, because you're not intelligent. So anyways,
I'm educated.
Sure.
From not a highly ranked university.
Okay. Not on this subject. I don't remember this being something you were taught. So if it is, show me that class paper, and then I'll give you.
I took a Chaucer class.
Yeah, well, whatever. Anyways, not to get into the details, but the game's great. I mean, it's my number 1. It has everything I want in the game and more, and it was done masterfully.
I was gonna say the best sound design,
of course,
in anything.
Best everything, anything. Everything was great.
Best female biceps in a video game.
By a mile.
Best guitar playing in a video game.
Best guitar playing, best female biceps.
Best cover of a song in a video game.
Oh, I mean, it runs away with
Apparently one of those songs is a cover. I did not know it was an actual, they just used a real song. I thought they had written a song.
The Joel song?
Yeah.
You didn't know that was a real song?
I didn't know it was a real song. And apparently it's should have been obvious. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways.
If you want my real thoughts, well, not my real thoughts, but my more in-depth thoughts, you should go to the Last of Us spoiler cast. Especially with that song.
I would like to revisit that cast. I actually did listen to it not too long ago. It was a long listen. I listened to some of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long one.
It's 3 hours.
I would like to redo that cast now that we've played it a second time and see if anything changes. That might be too much cast, but
I mean, we got time. We got episodes to make, so
yeah. Anyways,
if we don't got that many ideas. We're like, oh man, when are we gonna ever do that?
Yeah, best sounds. Have you seen a game look better than this?
Yakuza's skin. I'm just saying the pores on those people.
No. I've seen the stuff you've been sending me. That did not look good.
No. Just trust me.
Anyways,
no, nothing
graphically.
Not photo the best
mode.
skin,
the photo mode was so good. I made some good stuff with that, and just the story, the moments, the emotional moments, the acting, the characters. Man, just incredible.
That's it. It's a really good game.
Some would say.
Too bad it's not the number 1 game of the year.
Oh, well, it is. I just said it.
No. I mean, I'm ending this, so...
Yeah,
I can edit your audio.
Apparently, the last 10% when it comes to ending is not good. So
Repeat after me. The worst game is...
The worst game is...
Alright, now I have that audio clip, and I was going to edit it to before Last of Us 2.
I edit most of these. I can edit some stuff with you if you like. I'm just saying.
Alright, my number 1. That I'd very much like to see you try. I did not expect anything could ever beat Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because that was gaming heaven.
Mm-hmm. Not much better than heaven.
Yet I have found Gaming Elysium, which is the...
That's that Neil Blomkamp movie.
Hades.
No, it was Chappie. Which one?
No, Hades.
Oh, Hades, the game.
Yeah, and hey, these games is great. But... Hades somehow toppled my number 1. And you said something, and I wish I could remember exactly. You said that in Last of Us, it made you like someone that you never thought possible.
Mm-hmm.
This game made me like a genre that I never thought possible.
Okay.
And they were able to... And this is what... There are a few games out there that, like, I love when they use the mechanics to enhance the game. Where being a video... Like, this could not be done if it were not a video game.
All right.
Something like... I remember Prince of Persia. Like, they did one with Nolan North. And the way that, like, game overs worked. I was like, this could only work in video games. Like...
Give an example.
Like, whenever you die, like, you didn't...
Spoiler.
No, in Prince of Persia?
I know.
2007.
Yeah.
Just whenever you would die, like, the girl with you would save you. And it was like...
Oh, that's cool.
Like, and people, like, hated that. They were like, oh, you never can lose. I'm like, no, you can.
It's just a reason for showing you that you didn't actually
There's
die.
a narrative reason as to why you're still alive.
Yeah.
And I really, like, appreciated that. And then, like, something like Spec Ops.
Mm-hmm.
The line. Like, you having to make those decisions... It was part of the experience. Like it was like you were supposed to have emotional trouble.
Yeah.
And
so ultimately it was you that did it.
Yeah, and that idea wasn't perfected, but then I think Last of Us 2 was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that feeling
sounds like it's a great game.
I want to stop. I wanted to stop playing that game.
Okay.
And from a perspective of no, I'm too like in my head. I'm too like trying to be like vague here.
Mm-hmm, of course.
Like those are 3 games that they use the medium to enhance them. And I don't think any game has done that better than Hades. And they use the genre that I do not like, and I've tried. I played Binding of Isaac, had zero interest to keep
Dead
going.
Cells.
I have played Dead Cells.
Did you like it?
It was alright. But I was like, I don't want to do this.
Like
I played Hollow Knight.
Okay. That's also a roguelike?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
It's more like it's kind of like a 2D Metroid Dark Souls. Really, there's a lot of genres there. Probably not the best one for that list there, but Hades was able to take that genre and not only make it part of the narrative, but make me want to try those games I did not like before. And I love Greek mythology. Right outside my classroom right now, I will show you just for the sake of it. Right outside my classroom right now is a chalkboard that says "All Hail Poseidon." Like, literally, he's looking at the picture right now. I had a kid write that on my chalkboard outside the window, and to take that and make me learn about that culture. Like, one of my most disappointing things was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that I feel did not nail the Greek mythology. Right. This is what I wanted. This is what I want out of Greek mythology. And it could be, there could be more with it, I'm sure, but it was the perfect amount of, like, just being in that culture.
Yeah, it sounds like this was more faithful to that mythology than Assassin's Creed.
And I'm sure there's Greek mythology, it's hard to be faithful to it to begin with.
Oh yeah, it's mythology.
There's not so much written.
There's different tales.
As my students will tell you, Poseidon is real.
I'm sure there's a guy somewhere.
I had a fight with
Kansas or something.
I had a debate about that. I had a 25-minute debate about Neptune and Poseidon with a student 2 days ago. I'm really into Greek mythology. Anyway, notice how I've not even discussed playing it yet. This is a game that there's so much freedom in the combat that seems so restrictive, and I have found that replaying that game is something I want to do. I don't need to go back to Last of Us. Ghosts I'd play for a little bit, but I spent 30 hours in Hades, and I'm more than happy to go back. And I beat Hades multiple times. You have to technically beat it finally. And even after you beat it, there's more. I think we said this in the Game of the Year. Maybe Last of Us has best story, but Hades has most story. And there's definitely a quality with that quantity.
Okay.
I want to play Hades. Just talking about it makes me want to play it. Final Fantasy was able to make me feel that. But Hades is the better video game. It is the best video game of this year. From the official Educated Discussions
let's look up
spokesperson.
Let's look up what one game of the year.
On IGN?
Officially. No, the actual game of the year.
IGN.
The one that counts. The Game Awards. When people give out awards, there's literally one place, and it's the Game Awards.
No, IGN had a Game of the Year.
Yeah.
It's called Hades.
IGN's good.
Shut up.
IGN's cool. Whatever. But the Game Awards, what was that? Hold on. It started... It rhymed with the Grast of Gruss. What was it?
Oh,
The Last
Call
of Us
Duty
Part 2.
Warzone
No.
mode.
Anyways, okay. So, yeah, not a surprise to those that have listened to previous casts. Me being the correct one with my choice. Last of Us Part 2 being Game of the Year for Educated Discussion.
One of the games of the year, yeah.
It won the Game of the Year, and it won ours as well.
One publication.
All right, so to do this fair, obviously we're voting for two different games, right? So then to choose one out of our two, all right? This is gonna be the fairest thing. We'll go to what won Game of the Year on Game Awards, right? And then we'll add that to the tally of the Game of the Year choices, and then whoever has the most tallies will win Educated Discussions Game of the Year.
Okay.
And also, what we can do is, if you don't want to do it that way, because I know it's kind of cheating, using Game Awards, right? In our top three, whichever one of these games has the most.
I was thinking this is what I was waiting for. This one. I was like, what? Oh,
that was a bet. I said the Game of the Award one as a joke, and then I'm like, crap! It would have been funnier if I did the tally.
Oh, that's exactly where I thought you were going.
Yeah, I know. Because you looked puzzled when I said the Game of the Award thing, and I'm like, crap, that's not what he was expecting. I thought he was expecting it.
No, I was like, anyway, you got it.
I mean, honestly, that does seem fair, but I get the same time it's not, because I did not play Hades, so I don't have much to say on it. From what it okay. All right, audience, you made it this far. Where are we at? We're at 2 freaking hours and 30 minutes.
I have to delete the first 5 seconds. So.
Okay, whatever. It sounds like if you want to survive 2020, you cannot go wrong with any of these two games. Seeing as he put over 30 hours into Hades. Technically more hours into Last of Us because he played it twice. But whatever, I'm not going to mention that, even though I just did. And then I did the same with Last of Us. Played it twice. That's at least 40-something hours of content, if not. Yeah, that's probably about 40-something hours of content. You cannot go wrong with any of these games.
Okay, but there were times where in Last of Us I was like, ugh, I'm still playing this. Never happened with Hades.
It happened with me to not even want to play. Like, ugh, I don't even want to play this.
You didn't play it.
I did, exactly. It didn't look good. So, I wasn't compelled to play that. But regardless, I understand.
Yeah, you're right. You're too busy playing Neo. You saw that.
One
I gotta get in on this.
I'll get on that. Neo.
Respect to Neo, though. I hear there's some cool in there.
I have not got to any. I was early. Whatever. Yeah, so that's our Game of the Year.
This is a lot of good stuff, and we told you a lot about some really good games you can play. You don't even need a PS5 to do any of these. You don't need a Series X.
Yeah.
You don't.
You have plenty.
You don't need a PC,
and that's just some of it. I mean, I think you told me you had played or at least completed 26 games or something.
I beat 26 games this year. I used to try and do 50 a year, but that's when I was in college.
Yeah, I played 21 games this year.
You played or beat?
Played.
Okay.
Most of them beat.
I played way more than 26 for sure.
Yeah. So we didn't discuss all those. So there's a lot of them in there. You know, I mean, I guess we can end it here. Did you want to do any special shout outs? We don't have to discuss them. Just like, hey, this is a good game too, real quick. Anything?
I'll limit us to 2.
One of them for sure that I wanted to bring up earlier and I just forgot, and that doesn't speak to the quality of the game. I missed it on my list because there's been a lot of stuff this year. Life is Strange 2 is one that I believe the final episode came out either this year or late last year, and I finally got a chance to play it this year. That is a really good game because I tried playing it as it came out, and then I realized the release structure was going to be pretty far in between. So I said, I'll just wait till all done. They all came out. Fantastic game. And one that I should definitely check out once you get Game Pass again. Okay. I'd be really curious to see your choices. Go ahead with your next one. Let's keep moving.
Fuser.
Oh, yes.
That is a game that, like, I'm not going to say it's a party game, but it's like, it's pretty much a DJ game. And my dad played a video game for the first time in, I would say, when did RE4 come out?
RE4?
Yeah, that's the last time he played a video game, he even had an interest.
The first one?
Yeah, he had it for the GameCube. He has not played a video game in
high school
since then, and he saw me playing Fuser, and he's like, "Can I?"
That's his thing.
But he was like, let me but the fact that a actual DJ was like, I want to play with this. Yeah. Like, this looks like a really cool tool set. And he had to tell me, like, you gotta take this away from me. He's like, I'm gonna be here all day. It was like my birthday. And he was just playing video games on my birthday, like not by himself, but he was making music. Yeah. And it's a
Was he good at it?
It sucked because he was really good at it. Like, it was like he was I just made let me put somebody wants to with call me maybe. Oh, I love it. And he's like making like really smart decisions and pacing everything, and I'm like,
you suck. Somebody once told me that you should call me maybe. That's cool.
It's a really cool tool set. I wish they
was gonna buy it until I saw its price point.
I wish they
wait till it's $10.
I kind of wish they had a story mode that like just get really stupid with it. But they seem to take it still a little too seriously.
The world leaders are needing to gonna leave some stress. They need the coolest party in the history.
Like something like that would be really funny. Anyway, your next one. I feel like I should have ended with Fuser.
Okay, so you said just 2, right? Okay, I only got one more. Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff I played that I didn't mention, but I want to give a special shout out to this one because and it's actually happened today. I was listening to a podcast and they started talking about this game, like, oh yeah, this is the worst one in the franchise, but it's still good. And I'm currently playing this game, and this game is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And
I bought you this.
Yeah, you bought me this.
Too bad it went on PS Plus.
It sure did. This month
you opened it.
I wasn't gonna return it. I mean, I guess I could have got a store credit or something. Whatever. It's fine. But I think when you gave this to me, you're like, yeah, this isn't the best one, but it's some interesting stuff, right? And then today too, it's like, yeah, out of the 3, it's the worst one, but it's still fun. This is my favorite one out of these 3 by far. I liked 1 enough, but I don't know who any of the other characters were in that first one. Jonah's the only one because she mentions his name every 4 freaking seconds in this new one. And same thing on the other one too. But anyways, whatever. There was a whole bunch of other characters. I don't even know who the villain was. I guess it was Trinity still. I'm not sure. But so much stuff happened, and I loved the beginning part of that first one. because it's like setting up who she is and everything, her getting used to all that. Cool. Second one was a chore to get through. I did not like Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I know people love it because of whatever. I didn't like it. I'm playing this new one. I'm having a great time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still nowhere near as good as Uncharted. But it is reminding me a lot more of it.
Okay.
In positive ways than anyone has before. And I haven't beat it yet. I'm still fairly early in it. But I'm having a really good time. And to me, already this beats the other two. So I just want to give a special shout out to that one. It's a little on the underappreciated side, and I don't understand why. Maybe as I progress, I'll see it, but right now, it's great.
It was just I always wanted more out of the story.
That's how I felt about all of them. But this is the one I've been able to follow the most concise because it's not as convoluted, and every single item I pick up, she's not immediately trying to tell me a story. This one is just like, you can go look for it if you want, but I don't want to hear it. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, every time she would pick up an artifact, wow, the Mayans must have really took their time with. Okay,
I like how you slowly transitioned into an accent. Like you didn't start. With
I know. I added more to it. Like this is enough. And then this one, she just picks it up, and then it says artifact added to inventory. So I can go there and listen if I want to. I don't want to. It's
a great. Like this game's so good. The collectibles. You don't even have to hear it.
I don't have to hear a single thing because that was so annoying in the first one. Every time you pick up a scroll, my father. Okay. So, anyways, I really like what this one's doing, and it's making it a lot more enjoyable for me. That's it.
My final shout out is the first game I beat this year, or this 2020. I borrowed from you. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah.
It does a lot of what I like about the Mandalorian. And there's one moment in that game that it gave me that Final Fantasy VII smile.
Oh,
there's one moment.
That's high praise.
I'm a fan of lightsabers, and they give you a moment, and I'm ready to hop back into that game when they do a new one.
I've been kind of. Oh, okay.
I would still
play this new one.
Yeah,
or play the
old one.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do that recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just something about it. I know they added some new stuff or whatever, but I've been wanting to do that.
When you get a redhead protagonist, good for them.
I didn't know it was redhead the whole time until he like sat down to meditate.
I've seen the actor in a show. That's
well, yeah, I knew that, but I just didn't realize how red it was until he like meditated at like a save point. I was like, well, what? Oh snap, Fred Weasley. But
that game I think deserves a shot. It came I think late 2019.
Yeah,
so it kind of got overlooked.
It missed the Game Awards window, unfortunately.
This game,
it got one nod this year.
I don't really like. It's not that I don't like Dark Souls. It's just it doesn't fit my lifestyle. So this was like a nice half step.
Yeah, it was like Dark Souls for babies, in a good way.
Hey. The game wasn't that easy.
What?
It wasn't that easy.
Well, I meant like its mechanics.
It's not for babies.
No, it was not
for
easy.
Young adults.
I had to lower the difficulty settings with that one big chick.
Okay. Oh, I remember her.
Yeah, she was beat the crap out of me. I'm like, let me lower the difficulty.
It did what I want Star Wars to have been doing for a while.
Yeah, I remember you texting me while you were playing it. You're like, wow, this is better than the whole sequel trilogy or whatever you said, which is false, but yeah.
Well, you're right. Never mind. I'm not even getting into that.
That was bait. I want to see if you took it.
I'm not going to take it. But it deserves some props.
Okay. All right. Well,
you can survive. Who needs a PS5, right?
You're still on.
Why do we need that? What's a PS5?
Yet you've been trying to get one at tennis practice.
Thank you so much for listening to our educated discussion. Keep it cool out there. Be cool to each other.
Catch you on the flippity flip. The worst game is The Last of Us Part 2.